Chapter 942. Under the expectant gaze of Baigo and his butler, Zhang Xiaobao slowly said, "It's really the last idea. It's not a big deal." Xiao Bei, Xiao Yuan, and the others suffered a lot in Hong Nong. Fortunately, they followed me and Cuckoo around and saw a lot. Otherwise, if they were ordinary children, they would often have nightmares when they saw floating corpses, even if they were not scared silly. They were willing to take out all their savings for the reconstruction of Hong Nong. More than 1,000,000 strings of cash is not a small amount. If they were businessmen, the imperial court would reward them, not to mention children. Don't be silly. The words that come out of your mouth sound different. What do you mean by all their savings? According to your words, Xiao Bei and the others will have no money at all. They won't be able to live in the future. It sounds very pitiful. Baigo was amused by Zhang Xiaobao's words. If it was someone else who said more than 1,000,000 strings of cash, it would be scary, but when it was Xiao Bao who said it seriously, it only gave people a feeling of absurdity. To Xiao Bao, could more than 1,000,000 strings of cash be considered money? Wang Wan chimed in to help. "Grandpa Bai, you can't deny the kindness of the 9 children just because our family is rich. If it were other children, they would take out their savings of 100 copper coins, and Xiao Bei and the others would give 1,000,000 strings of cash, which is 1 billion copper coins. I won't comment on how much money is, it's too vulgar. I just want to say that they are the same, giving everything they have." "That's right, but don't use 1 billion copper coins to pressure me. I used to be a minister of the Ministry of Revenue, and I've seen money." Baigo nodded and admitted. He looked up at his butler, Chongqing. "Say something." The housekeeper had seen the world today. When the master talked to Zhang Xiaobao, he talked about money in the millions. He was always scheming against the country. Hearing the master's question, he pondered for a moment and replied, "Master, compared to Zhang Xiaobei and Wang Xiaoyuan, I'm not as good as them. My food, clothes, and accommodation are all paid for by the master. However, I still can't bear to give all my money to others, even if it's used for disaster relief. If I only take 1/10 of it, I might be able to do it." Embarrassing. Baigo felt that the butler was embarrassing him. It was not like he was asking him to take it. To put it nicely, this butler was too honest. As soon as Baigo had this idea, Wang Wan said, "It's human nature. The steward shows his loyalty by telling the truth. Since the steward said he would grit his teeth and give 1/10 of the money, I thank the steward on behalf of the people of Hong Nong. I will send someone to the steward to get it." The butler immediately trembled. Fortunately, he had said 1 in 10 just now. She really wanted it. Baigo was speechless. When he saw the smile in Wang Wan's eyes, he couldn't vent the anger in his heart. If the butler had cooperated and said that he would take everything, he would probably be crying now. She was serious. Baigo did not intend to continue to let this pair of shrewd people talk. The housekeeper paid for the money, and the master paid for it. Baigo changed the topic and thought, "Cuckoo, Xiaobei's money was paid for by the imperial court. We can ask the emperor for it later. How can we count it on them?" Grandfather Bai's guess is correct. I also think so. However, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Since Grandfather Bai has the same idea, when we return to the capital, can Xiao Bei and the others ask the emperor for money? Grandfather Bai needs to help more. A few days ago, Xiao Bei said that she missed Grandfather Bai and wanted to sing and dance for Grandfather Bai. She said that Grandfather Bai is the best grandfather besides her biological grandfather. Zhang Xiaobao quickly took over Baigo's words. The meaning was very clear. "Didn't you say that you could ask the emperor for it? Well, go and ask for it. See if you can get it back. Don't make Xiao Bei sad." Ah. Baigo regretted. His mouth was cheap. Even if it was 100 copper coins, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family would not be able to get it from the emperor. For so many years, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family paid for it, but the imperial court did not give it to them. This had become a common practice. It could be seen from Xiaobei's official robes. The double gold and silver fish bag could be written into the history books. Of course, there should be a small line of words at the end. Because the imperial court was short of money, it was ordered to self-control, so it became a mistake. That. Baigo raised his sleeve and wiped the non-existent sweat to cover up. He said that, Xiaobao, you said that you have another idea. What is it? Zhang Xiaobao laughed secretly. He did not expect to get back the money that his family spent for the Tang Empire. Basically, all the money was given to him by preferential policies. After laughing secretly, Zhang Xiaobao said, this time, the county magistrate of Hongnong County, Yan Zheng, dared to destroy the embankment because he thought that no one would pursue the matter. I want to use Xiaobei's name to build an amusement park on the Honglu River. A water amusement park does not cost money. There are specific activities in it. If you want to play, you can spend money. However, the person who manages the project will definitely have nothing to do with my family. My family is only in charge of the maintenance and repair of the amusement park. We also collect some fees for the land. In the name of Xiaobei's 9 children, I believe that the new official will not dare to do anything when he knows that Honglu River is under the care of Xiaobei and the others. Don't you think so? Baigo pondered over Zhang Xiaobao's words and had to agree. Indeed, no official wants to be targeted by Xiaobei and the others. Otherwise, during the evaluation, even if he did not do anything wrong, he would be demoted by 3 grades. If he is guilty, he will be punished. However, if we build an amusement park on the Honglu River, how long will it take to earn more than 3 million coins? This old man knows that it is not easy for Xiaobei and the others to earn money. Other than the small business they came up with, most of it is the New Year's money and tips that they kowtow to the elders during festivals. Even if your family gives more, because of your family, the other elders are embarrassed to give less. For example, when Xiaobei and the others pay New Year's greetings, I can't take out less than 100 coins. However, this is their hard work money. The only thing this old man did not expect is that Xiaobei and the others are willing to take out their hard work money just once they come to Hongnong. Your Majesty really did not spoil the wrong people. In Hanyuan Palace, Xiaobei is sitting on the dragon chair. I want to see who dares to talk behind their backs. In fact, Baigo was not used to it. When Xiaobei and the others arrived at Hanyuan Palace, they ran to Baigo's side. Xiaobei sat on the armrest of the dragon chair and even squeezed with the emperor with a smile. Even the crown prince did not dare to touch that place. However, after this incident, Baigo thought that it was fine to sit there. The chair would not break. She did not want to be the emperor. She just felt that the view there was broad. Baigo's attitude made Zhang Xiaobao feel very embarrassed, so he said, try not to spoil them. So, Grandpa Bai, you also agree to build an amusement park in the name of Xiaobei and the others, and be responsible for the maintenance and repair of the Honglu River, and collect a little land fee. I agree. How many people can there be in Hongnong County? I am only worried that the money earned is not enough to maintain it, and you will have to pay extra. Baigo said. His housekeeper also nodded. Wang Wan could not help but laugh and quickly covered her mouth with her hand. Cuckoo, why are you laughing? Baigo was puzzled. Wang Wan shook her head hard. No, nothing. I just thought of something else happy, so I laughed. Really? Xiaobao, you can't lie to this old man. Tell me the truth. Can the amusement park make money? How much money can it make? Bai Go finally figured it out. Zhang Xiaobao stared at Wang Wan, and got Wang Wan to roll her eyes back. He looked even more embarrassed than before. Grandpa Bai, there are two sides to this matter, right? Don't talk to me about other things. I just want to ask you, can the amusement park make money? Bai Go was not fooled. Logically speaking, if we give it to others, we can't make money. You see, we don't manage the specific projects of the amusement park, and we also need to take care of the maintenance and repair of the Honglu River. That's not a small amount of money, right? Zhang Xiaobao asked tentatively. Don't try to reason with me. If you really want to reason with me, then this old man will tell you. Logically speaking, you, Zhang Xiaobao, have never done a losing deal. Just now, I was fooled by you. If not for Cuckold's sudden laughter, I would still be in the dark. If you want to blame it on Cuckold, you two can fight in private. Now, I want to hear the truth. According to Zhang Xiaobao's ability to make money, it is impossible for him to be your idea to come to Hongnong. I feel sorry for Xiaobei and others, but I don't feel sorry for you. Bai Go reacted and did not believe Zhang Xiaobao's nonsense. He was careless. He was fooled. It was really impossible to guard against. The housekeeper didn't understand and was puzzled. They were talking, but why did the master have such a big reaction when Wang Wan laughed? Wang Wan continued to laugh. Zhang Xiaobao shrugged helplessly and said to Wang Wan, "Wife, let's be more reserved. You see, when you laugh, I am isolated. You are a lady from a noble family. You should pay attention to your manners. You are still laughing. I am so smart. Xiaobao, I have seen through you. You have been fooling me since I was young. Now, you are getting smarter and smarter. I have decided not to stay in Sanshui County anymore. I will go out and be a liar. After being fooled by you for so many years, I have finished my apprenticeship, right?" Bai Go was furious. He was not angry at Zhang Xiaobao, but at himself. After so many years, he had been fooled again and again. Why didn't he learn his lesson? Wang Wan pinched Zhang Xiaobao twice and finally stopped laughing. She wiped the tears from her laughter and said to Bai Go, "Grandpa Bai, you can't be a liar because there are no liars in Tang. Yes, where there is Xiaobao, there are no liars. I found out. If he is not a liar, the world will be peaceful. Xiaobao, don't try to hide. Tell me, how much money can you make?" Bai Go kept telling himself that it was not the first time he was fooled. Only then did he suppress the anger in his heart. "Actually, we can't make much money. You know, my family has invested a lot of money in researching technology. We have electric lights, flashlights, washing machines, fans, and now there is something called electronic machine tools. We haven't finished researching them yet, but there are byproducts. So, we have some entertainment projects. I plan to put them in the amusement park. We will not operate them directly. We will rent them out and charge them for the land. In the past, there were only so many people in Hongnong. But didn't I mention before that there will be a railway connecting Hongnong to the north of the Yangtze River in the future? We will build a distribution center for goods. At that time, we can have a little more people, right? Just a little more. The hibiscus garden in the capital is too empty. My family is going to give a set of equipment like the Hanglushui amusement park for free. When it is open, we will charge a fee and give it to the emperor directly. Those who don't have the opportunity to go to the hibiscus garden can enjoy it in Hanglushui. Does this count as benefiting the country and the people? I don't want a single cent of the money I make. I will give it all to Xiaobei and the others. Even if they donate it tomorrow, I will not stop them. Cute and sensible children should be rewarded. Zhang Xiaobao explained his plan. He did not mention how much money he could make, nor did he mention the prospects. But Bai Go, who had been the Minister of Revenue, immediately knew how profitable this industry was. I found that what Cuckoo said was not wrong at all. Where there is Xiaobao, there will definitely be no swindlers. Xiaobao has thousands of ways to make money, but he will never cheat. How many people in the Tang Empire and the surrounding countries dare to cheat in front of him? Chongqing, do you see? Sometimes, one can make money with confidence. Bai Go had been in contact with Zhang Xiaobao for many years. He immediately thought of the future profits of Hanglashui. It would definitely be many times more than what Xiaobei paid. That was because the hibiscus garden was not open often, but the amusement park was always open. Moreover, he knew that Zhang Xiaobao could make a lot of money from it, but he could not stop it. Not to mention him, even the people from the censorate could not say anything. Since Xiaobao said that he would give the money to his younger brothers and sisters, he would never ask for a single cent. Others could not attack Xiaobei and the others. Although they were rich, as long as the people of the Tang Empire needed it, they could take it out immediately. After a slight estimation of the traffic of the merchandise distribution center, Bai Go felt that the money invested by Xiaobei and his 9 children could be earned back in 3 to 5 years. Compared with Xiaobao's investment, the return on investment was still low. He decided to support him from the side. Master. Bai Go's butler was different from Bai Go. He was in contact with the bottom of the society, so he knew the development prospects of Hanglashui amusement park better. He could not help but want to remind the master. Say it. Bai Go asked in front of Zhang Xiaobao. Master, this. The butler was hesitant. Bai Go's face suddenly darkened. Chongqing, you just heard a lot of national policies. If it is spread out and delayed, your whole family will be annihilated. The butler immediately felt that his back was wet with sweat. The master's meaning was very clear. What he just heard was national policies. If it was leaked, his whole family would be annihilated. Now he was playing tricks in front of Zhang Xiaobao. What would Zhang Xiaobao think? Wang Wan said very cooperatively, Grandpa Bai, if your butler does this again in the future, don't blame me for killing him. This time he is not sensible. You have to scold him more. Bai Go was relieved. He was really afraid that Xiaobao and Cuckoo would not say anything. It was just a small matter. He was afraid that if they did not say anything, it would be called estrangement. If so, he would not have the face to live in Sanshui County. Say it. Go back and get 10 whips. Bai Go scolded the butler. The butler knew that the master saved his life. Otherwise, he would not be able to leave the yard. He was so scared that he cupped his hands. If it was not to protect the master's face, he would have knelt down. Of course, he did not know that if he really knelt down, he would be dead. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan respected Grandpa Bai. They would not allow Grandpa Bai's servant to lose face. Master, they will make a lot of money. Maybe in less than a year, they can earn back more than 1,000,000 strings of coins. Don't you want to share? The butler had to tell the truth. Can they really make so much money? Xiaobao. Bai Go did not ask the butler. Instead, he asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand at the butler, indicating that he would not pursue the matter. Then he said to Bai Go, Grandpa Bai, what do you enjoy in Sanshui County? When others go there, they only know that between the clouds and the water is good and that the pond between the clouds and the water is big. What about you? Me? Of course, the mountain is in the middle of the water. The best scenery is not between the clouds and the water, but Zhuangzi, the mountain behind the Zhang family and the Wang family, and the water surrounding the mountain. Also, the best place to comprehend is not the Jinja Academy, but the children's school. What the academy has, the school must have. What the academy has, the school may not have. The sound of reading is definitely not comparable to the cheerful laughter of the children. I also know that the academy usually eats pork and chicken. The children of the Zhang family and the Wang family usually eat beef and mutton. But I eat pig's stomach, chicken delicacies, lamb liver, beef bay, fish roe, fish float, and foie gras. Xiao Bao, you're so considerate. It's all thanks to you that this old man is still alive. I didn't know where I lived at first, but after asking around, I found out that the temperature there was always 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Every day, I had to drink a small bowl of fishy and fresh bone marrow kombu porridge. Every day I am alive is because of you and Cuckoo. But what does this have to do with the Honglu Water Amusement Park? How can making money compare to Between the Clouds and the Water? Baigo was not stupid at all. He knew very well what kind of treatment he enjoyed. It could be said that it was meticulous. Therefore, he was biased toward Xiao Bao and Cuckoo without any psychological burden. Wang Wan fed Baigo a small cake and said, "Grandpa Bai, that's what you should do." In fact, Xiao Bao means that once a businessman comes to Hongnong County and knows that there is a place like the hibiscus garden that only the emperor can enjoy, if the seller doesn't take the buyer to the amusement park, it can only mean that the buyer's status is too low. All businessmen who don't know how to behave have been eliminated. Those who stay will definitely take people to the amusement park. The amusement park is free, but the projects inside charge money. Who cares about that little money? Xiao Bao doesn't need to calculate this point. I can tell Grandpa Bai that after this winter, the distribution center will be built. From the beginning of spring to the middle of summer next year, we can earn more than 1.3 million strings of cash in 2 seasons. This is because there are only 2 places in the Tang Empire that have the same project. The amusement park is not only a place to relax, but also a place to show one's status. We won't run it independently, but we will raise the cost of the technical equipment and the land cost of the individual projects. Our publicity is that we can enjoy the life of an emperor through several journeys in the human world. Listening to Wang Wan's explanation, Baigo finally understood how the amusement park made money. No wonder Zhang Xiaobao suggested that they could earn back their capital in 2 seasons. It was true. The hibiscus garden couldn't be opened often. People rarely saw what the emperor played. Cuckoo, according to what you said, there is a possibility of overdoing it, Baigo advised kindly. Yes, Grandpa Bai is right. That's why we want Xiaobei and the others to discuss it with His Majesty. If His Majesty can say to Xiaobei, "Xiaobei, you kids should take out the New Year's money you got from kowtowing and not get anything in return, then we'll accept it. In that case, we'll accept it. We'll immediately cancel the Hanglushui amusement park." Wang Wan spread her hands. "Master, the emperor can't say this," the butler reminded him. "Nonsense, of course I know. How can His Majesty say that the country will be destroyed?" When he said this, he didn't mention the people of Luzhou, the people of Yutufan, the people of Sanshui County, the reaction of Shuzhou, the indignation of Yizhou, and the entire northern part of Hebei province. How many people wouldn't be worried about the people in other places of the Tang Empire? Even the ministers would be bitterly disappointed. Xiaobei and the others represented loyalty, faith, glory, courage, honesty, justice, sacrifice, and fairness, just like the knights in the story that Xiao Yuan repeated. Of course, this was not the most amazing thing. The most amazing thing was that Xiaobei and the others were not adults, so other words such as cute, sensible, lively, smart, naughty, and so on should be added. How can His Majesty refuse? Do you think it's a joke to reduce the punishment by 3 grades and add punishment for every crime? You haven't seen what Hanyuan Palace is like. When others walk on both sides, Xiaobei and the others jump in the middle and jump up. Baigo finally knew the plan of Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Master, can't others walk in the middle? The butler didn't know anything else but this, so he asked curiously. No one has ever walked in the middle. There are no steps in the middle, and there are big pieces of land. How can one walk? When His Majesty goes to court, he will either appear at the back or at the front, and there will be people carrying the carriage. The people carrying the carriage also have to walk on both sides. The middle is carved, so who will walk in the middle? His Majesty doesn't summon people easily now, and when he does, he will use binoculars. From top to bottom, it is more than 100 meters away, and you can't see anything even if you raise your head. Do you think it's the story that Xiaobei and the others told? When they say that His Majesty is at the top and ask the people below to raise their heads, His Majesty will be able to see their delicate features. Unless His Majesty is far-sighted. His Majesty doesn't have that ability, so he uses binoculars. Xiaobei and the others don't care about that. Sometimes, they even run to the back. When His Majesty summons them, they are next to the dragon throne. How can you reason with them? Except for Zhang Zhong's scolding, the other officials are all silent. Baigo told the butler what happened in the court. The butler didn't know who Zhang Zhong was, so he asked, Master, what rank is Zhang Zhong? Is he so powerful? Is he more powerful than the legendary Master Gao? Zhang Zhong is the Minister of Works, and he is Xiaobei's biological father. Master Gao. Gao Lishir is Xiaobao's godfather, so he is his godfather. What can he say? Do you understand? If you offend Xiaobao, Xiaobao will reason with you. If you offend Xiaobei, you can't say anything even if you are right. Bai Mao instructed his steward earnestly. Chapter 943. No wonder Lord Zhang Zhong is Lord Zhang Xiaobei's biological father. No wonder he dares to scold Xiaobei. The steward felt that it was a good thing that there was someone in the imperial court who could control Xiaobei. It depends on what the matter is. If Xiaobei is serious about something, she dares to go against her father. After quarreling in the imperial court, Xiaobei will go home and hide before the court is dismissed. Ha! Baigo laughed heartily when talking about this. Zhang Xiaobao winked at Wang Wan and went to the kitchen to cook. After all, he couldn't let Baigo eat some snacks to fill his stomach. Wang Wan accompanied Baigo to the table and told him the importance of building a road to the 3 northeastern provinces, the northern part of Hebei province. She listed the mineral resources in the northeast and talked about the characteristics of the northeast land. She especially emphasized the benefits of planting potatoes brought back from outside in the black soil of the Commander-in-Chief's mansion in Bohai. She also mentioned the precious medicinal materials that liked cold weather, delicious birds and beasts, beautiful unpractical animal fur. Of course, she didn't miss the important strategic locations. Oh. You mean, if we move the heavy industry to the northern part of Hebei province and put the large docks around, Jili province can be connected with Deng province and Lai province in Hunan province. A large area in the middle can be used for naval training and formation before meeting the enemy. However, in the northern part of Hebei province, only your Jili province has some people. The other places are uninhabited or sparsely populated. Who will occupy those places when attacking the Tang Empire? What's more, except for our Tang Empire, I haven't heard of any gunboats in other places. Although Baigo's thinking was more advanced, he didn't think of the same thing as Wang Wan. He had many doubts. Wang Wan heard Baigo say that the 3 northeastern provinces were not important. She opened her mouth and didn't know what to say for a while. She looked at the map and pondered for a while. Then she said, Grandpa Bai, do you think it's easy for Xiao Bao and me to clean up the northern part of Hebei province? Bai Go nodded. That was exactly what he meant. It did not take much effort. There were a few small skirmishes and they only used the gunships once. Even if they did not use the gunships, it would not have been a big deal. Grandpa Bai, that's because Shandong, the Hunan circuit, is in the hands of our great Tang. Otherwise, even if Xiao Bao and I mobilized our elite soldiers, we wouldn't have been able to attack them. Once they had a ship like ours, or even a smaller one, it would have been connected to the Hunan circuit's Dengzhou. I can only lead my troops to attack Deng province first. Deng province is not in my hands, so I definitely don't dare to attack that place. Unless they don't resist, hiding millions of soldiers in the vast mountains to the north is like child's play. Back then, I led the soldiers of Yi province. Why? Why didn't I bring the soldiers from Jiangnan? Without Lu Zhou's wolf soldiers? Because I'm afraid that they will hide. If they hide until winter, the soldiers of Yi province can still resist the cold. Wang Wan was not from the northeast. To be precise, she was not a pure northeasterner. She was originally from Beijing. The climate was the same as the northeast, and the area was close to Hebei. However, she knew the importance of the 3 provinces in the northeast. Otherwise, how did the capital of Beijing come to be? Who built Shanghai Pass for? The 2 capitals were unparalleled, and the first pass of the Great Wall was just a joke. Bai Go lowered his head and pondered. His steward was at a loss. He did not know what the northern part of Hebei province looked like. Her grandfather said that her grandfather's grandfather was in the northeast. The Japanese immigrants were often bullied by the local landlords. The 3 provinces in the northeast held back a lot of Japanese forces. That was because the warlords didn't see the situation clearly and adopted a passive strategy. Every time she thought of the story and read the real historical information, Wang Wan would sigh. The North military camp, as long as they fought back, could form a crossfire net at any time. They didn't need to prepare during the day. Even if they were attacked at night, they could get up and quickly form a firepower position. Not to mention people, even tanks would be trapped. Even if they lost in the end, they could eliminate the living force of the old nose. What kind of soldiers were they? They were the direct subordinates brought out by Zhang, just like the strong protection team in her family. Who dared to say that they could easily attack the position defended by the protection team according to the terrain and firepower deployment? Bai Go didn't know that Wang Wan thought of the history. Seeing Wang Wan's sad face, he thought that he didn't trust Wang Wan and his words and made her sad. Then he said, "Cuckoo, what did the commander of your army look like?" "What?" "Nothing. It's just the Xiang army given by the emperor." "Oh, it's the soldiers of the Jiangnan and western provinces. Now they have begun to adapt to the climate." Wang Wan calmed down and said with a gesture, "I'm talking about the winter clothes." Bai Go knew that His Majesty gave Xiao Bao and Cuckoo the soldiers. The reason why he gave them soldiers they were not familiar with was that he was afraid that they would dominate. Speaking of clothes, Wang Wan smiled. "If you go there, you will be scared." In summer, they wear the normal gray-green camouflage clothes. In winter, humph. After it snows in winter, they wear white skis, duck down, a white cloak, a snow hat, and a pair of snow glasses. The gloves have 3 parts, one for the thumb, one for the index finger, and the other 3 fingers together to make it convenient to shoot. Everyone carries a simple medical kit, a flat bottle of strong liquor, a multifunctional white military shovel, and a pack of spicy jerky. "Grandpa Bai, I let the Tang Empire choose any general to fight with me after it snows in winter. With 10,000 soldiers, I can easily defeat 100,000 of them. I participated in 3 maneuvers there. At that time, I mean, I thought about how to fight many times. Anyway, it's very powerful. As Wang Wan spoke, her words slipped out of her mouth and she hurriedly corrected her. Bai Go didn't think too much about it. He thought about what Wang Wan had said about the soldiers' equipment. He thought that in the snow, they would be dressed in white from top to bottom, which should be useful for hiding. As for what Wang Wan had said about 10,000 against 100,000, he still didn't quite believe it. The premise was that the one commanding the 10,000 was not Wang Wan. If it was Wang Wan, there was a high possibility of winning against 100,000 people in any place. Cuckoo, you are too modest. If you have enough space, I also believe that you can win if you fight against 200,000 with 10,000. Bai Go commented. Grandpa Bai, you don't understand what I mean. Even if it's not me, Xiao Bao can also win if he commands. You don't understand the cruelty of the forest and snowfield. For people who are not used to the environment, it's good enough that they can still breathe after entering. Wang Wan could not use words to describe the weather in the northeast, especially after passing Liaoning and heading north. It was bone-chilling and the wind was like a knife. Droplets of water would turn into ice. The Xiang soldiers sent by Li Longji were all men. In the first winter, how many of them cried from the cold? Their hands and faces would be covered with cuts and blackened by the wind. In the middle of the cuts, there would be fresh red flesh. That was Jili province, which was Dalian. It was warmer and close to the sea. Let's try heading north. Bai Go heard Wang Wan's words and did not dare to make a conclusion. Is it really that cold? You can go and take a look during winter. I will prepare some protective measures for you and let you experience the feeling of snow in the north. When Wang Wan thought of standing under the snow without any protective measures, she could not help but shiver. Only a group of heartless children like Xiao Bei would be able to make a snowman even when their hands were red from the cold. Bai Go had never experienced such a degree of coldness. He gave himself courage and said, Okay. I will leave my 50 kilograms to you. If I freeze to death, you will feel guilty for the rest of your life. Oh, who dares to freeze our Grandpa Bai to death? I will be the first to not let him off. Grandpa Bai, the dishes are here. Zhang Xiaobao came out of the kitchen with a big tray and said with a smile. There were 5 dishes on the tray. There was no soup because there was a northeast pig slaughtered dish in the middle. There was soup, pickled vegetables, white meat, blood sausage, vermicelli, and a smashed hind leg bone. There was also a small bowl of garlic sauce on the side. The other 4 dishes were stewed meat, steamed pork knuckle with chopped green onions, potato braised eggplant, and braised chicken nuggets with mushrooms. Zhang Xiaobao originally planned to stew chicken and mushrooms, but he thought it would take too long. The 5 dishes were all typical Northeast dishes. Zhang Xiaobao actually planned to make them even more shabby. For example, he would change the pork knuckle into sliced salted duck eggs, change the chicken and mushrooms into egg and onion pancakes, change the stewed meat into stewed vegetables, make the potato braised eggplant into eggplant with chopped green onions, and make the pig slaughtered dish into stewed pickled vegetables. In the end, he was too embarrassed to do so and had to serve them as planned. When Wang Wan saw the dishes, she immediately recognized which cuisine they belonged to. It was not winter yet, so the taste and feeling of eating Northeast dishes was not so good. She glanced at the 5 dishes and asked, 5 dishes. There's also a spicy stir-fried intestine. I can only stir-fry it after boiling water and blanching the intestines. My speed is already fast enough. I turned on 4 stoves at the same time, so the pig slaughtered dish and pork knuckle took more time. The water for blanching the intestines hasn't been boiled yet. I'm afraid that Grandpa Bai will be anxious from waiting. Zhang Xiaobao explained. All right, go back quickly. It's not easy for Grandpa Bai to come here. Even if it's a simple meal, it can't be too shabby. Grandpa Bai, I'm sorry. Xiao Bao's hands are really not fast enough. Wang Wan chased Zhang Xiaobao back and said modestly to Bai Go. Bai Go did not move his chopsticks. He waited for the wine to be warmed at the side. At the same time, he was also waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to finish the last dish so that they could eat together. After hearing Wang Wan's words, he said to his housekeeper, "Did you see that? The dishes are slow. After returning to the residence, tell the chefs that they don't need to make 5 dishes in that short amount of time. If they can make 4 dishes in front of them, I'll consider them doing their job well. Don't learn from Xiao Bao and waste time cooking." "Master, if we really do that, we won't have any chefs in our residence." "Master, I understand. No wonder you said that Her Majesty is willing to eat the dishes cooked by Jidushi Zhang. How fast does he have to be to manage 4 stoves at the same time? Other than using a spoon, he also has to use a knife to cut, right? To be honest, if I had the money to invite Jidushi Zhang to cook, I would be willing to pay 100 strings of cash just by looking at his knife skills." The housekeeper was deeply shocked. While he was speaking, 5 dishes were already out. Wouldn't the knife be flying? Bai Go chuckled and said, 100 strings of cash. Is Xiao Bao so worthless? Do you know how much money he earns when he cooks a dish? What's that saying again? Oh, it's in minutes. Tens of thousands of strings of cash. Do you think anyone can eat the dishes cooked by Xiao Bao? Have a seat. I don't know when I'll be able to eat them again. Thank you, Master. The housekeeper hurriedly found a seat at the end of the table and sat down. To be able to eat a bite of Zhang Xiaobao's dishes, regardless of the taste, just based on his status, he would gain face if word got out. Just as the housekeeper sat down, the fragrance of the hot wine wafted up. Zhang Xiaobao came back from the back with a plate in his hands. "Grandpa Bai, don't say that. It's just a dish. It doesn't matter who cooks it. Xiao Bei can make dolls with his friends in Old Willow Village. Can't I cook a few dishes with the commoners? The weight of one's status has nothing to do with being reserved. It's not difficult to eat the food I cook. Yesterday, I stood on the street and roasted more than 60 caddies of meat skewers. I didn't even get a single copper coin. You have the nerve to say that. I helped you roast the meat skewers. My hands are swollen. How can you manage a grill that's 10 feet long? You roast big skewers. 1 caddy of meat is 20 skewers. You roast 7 to 8 caddies of meat at once. I have to bring 6 maidservants with me. How tired am I?" Wang Wan complained. She even opened her hands for Bai Go to see. "Next time, let's roast properly before we roast the meat." "Madam, do you find that they enjoy the food?" Zhang Xiaobao was surprised. "I also enjoy the food. It tastes cheap. It's free," Wang Wan said. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. This shows that the commoners' lives are not easy. Rich people will not take advantage of this. One person can only eat 1 skewer, and they have to line up. Is it easy? Xiao Bao, pour the wine. I will also eat meat skewers tomorrow afternoon. Find a place and accompany me to fish and roast the meat. Bai Go had not moved his chopsticks. The master did not even serve the wine. How could he eat the food? Zhang Xiaobao obeyed and poured the wine. He held it up and gave Bai Go his blessings. Then, he filled Bai Go's chopsticks with food. Only then did Bai Go start eating. Early the next morning, Bai Go called Zhang Xiaobao and asked him to find a place to fish. He also brought the meat skewers that he had asked his men to roast for lunch. Looking at the color of the meat skewers, Baigo was puzzled. He asked Zhang Xiaobao, "There is no mutton or beef." "The mutton is not here yet. We have beef, but we don't dare to eat it. The commoners are waiting for the compensation." "Do you want to eat beef?" Zhang Xiaobao explained. "No. I am afraid of being scolded behind my back. Other than transporting livestock and poultry, you also have to send food to the commoners. It's really not easy." Baigo was just asking. He basically listened to Zhang Xiaobao when he came here. He believed that Xiaobao would adjust his diet. Zhang Xiaobao carried his fishing gear and headed towards one of the water bubbles. That place should be able to hold some fish when the flood hits. When he heard Baigo's question, he replied, "There is no need to prepare food for them. Humans cannot eat the food inside, but the livestock can eat it. I only need to hand over the pigs, cows, sheep, chickens, ducks, and geese to the commoners. Even if the commoners have to wade through the mud, they will still collect enough food for their livestock and poultry." "I know. With livestock, the commoners would rather be frugal and feed them well. Many commoners couldn't afford cows and sheep in the past, so they would buy pigs. They would add a cover on top of the pig and that would be their home. Only with a pig can there be a home. If I don't represent the imperial court to compensate them, they will not be able to have a stable winter. Especially those who raise cows. They basically raise the cows as their children, so I don't dare to kill the cows. In a few days, I will find local laborers to work and pay them. As for the old people and women who can't work, they will find ways to collect food for their livestock and poultry in the flood. I will give them some hope this year. Next autumn, there will be a bumper harvest. The rent that they should pay will not be less, so the incompetent officials should get out as soon as possible." Baigo continued. "Grandpa Bai, you know how to live. I admire you." Zhang Xiaobao praised. "Then, when the people from Jinjia Academy come to be officials, no one can stop them, right?" "I don't know if they can stop them. I only know that when the people from the academy come, I will skin them alive if they don't manage the place well. I have told them this before the imperial examination. Since they have acknowledged themselves as Jinjia Academy, don't make a fool of yourself if you can't be one. The mediocre ones should get out of the way and the capable ones should stay in the middle." Zhang Xiaobao said very impolitely. "I wanted to bring some drunk crabs over, but there are too few drunk crabs in the restaurant. My brother doesn't want us kids to eat too many crabs." Xiaobei, I know this. It's called kanbu. Grandpa Muramasa bought it before. It's very expensive. It's used to make prescriptions. It won't be expensive in the future. When our village makes money, I'll go to Jili province to buy it. The cost of breeding and transportation is covered. But you're not allowed to sell it. You can only eat it yourself." Xiaobei was surrounded by people and kept asking questions. Even so, she was not stumped. She could name every dish and even a few recipes. She must have eaten it often. The children looked at Xiaobei with even more admiration. "Sister Xiaobei, does the current emperor really eat these?" A child looked in the direction of Chang'an and asked uncertainly. Xiaobei nodded twice. "It's true. The difference is that the person who cooks it is not the sous chef I transferred. It's the imperial chef from the palace. Then the emperor must be eating the best, right?" "No, I'm the one who eats the best. The imperial kitchen doesn't have as many dishes as my family's restaurant. I mainly have a good brother. Uncle Emperor wants to eat the dishes made by my brother, so he has to find my brother. I'm with my brother every day, and my brother is always trying his best to cook good food for us. Every few days, my brother will take out a new dish for us to eat first. When we're done eating, he will send it to the palace and the restaurant. There are also a lot of expensive snacks. My brother doesn't let the emperor know. Xiao Bei said proudly. The children were full of envy. It was good to have a capable brother who spoiled them. When Xiao Bei showed her skills and the children were looking forward to eating delicious food at night, a group of people appeared at the opposite end of the iron chain bridge in Old Willow Village. Compared to the Japanese Shuichiro Watanabe who had directly crossed the bridge, the other side seemed to be very honest. Not only were there people, there were also carriages with horses and donkeys. The group stopped there. A round-faced man in brocade walked out of the crowd. He did not dare to cross the bridge directly, so he stood at the end of the bridge and shouted. Is that Zhang Xiaobei, Lord Zhang Xingzai? Are all the children of Hongnong County here? Who are you? The guard on this side of the bridge asked with a gun. Great Tang people, don't shoot. The voice from the other side was obviously frightened. Identity. The guard was unmoved and continued to ask. Shanzhou, Zhou City, Linhe Street, Yui Qiu, the head of Yu's Qing Miao Trading Company. The other side immediately replied. What are you doing here? The guard asked again. Sending cucumbers, garlic sprouts, spinach, and cabbage, plus a batch of literature and ink products. The other side answered. Come here yourself. The guard was still vigilant. Okay. The person on the other side walked towards the bridge by himself. A gust of wind blew, and he was fat, so the bridge shook. He was so scared that he squatted down and used his hands to support the bridge, giving people a feeling of being blown by the wind and rain. With great difficulty, the self-proclaimed Yui Qiu climbed over the bridge. He put his hands on the bridge pier and gasped for breath. His face was pale with fright. One of the guards at the end of the bridge leaned over. His voice was not as strict as before. We need to search him first. Understood. Search, I understand. Our Xiao Bei is precious, we can't be careless. If someone really wants to harm Xiao Bei, I will be the first to disagree. Yui Qiu was very easy to talk to. He raised his arm and stood there motionless, waiting to be searched. After he finished speaking, he opened his mouth and let them check if there was anything in his mouth. The guard was very serious. He pulled out a stack of papers from the cloth at Yui Qiu's waist. He opened it and looked at it carefully. It was a copy of the Yu family's Qing Miao Trading Company. It even had the seal of Shan Province. It seemed like the business was not small. Otherwise, it would only have the seal of the county. Brother, there is more. It is between the second and third paper. Yui Qiu did not forget to remind. The guard followed his instructions and turned it over. Inside was a piece of hard paper with oil prints. The picture was of a rising sun shining down from between two white clouds. Below it was a field with rice seedlings planted in the field. Each seedling had a small face. Looking at it from the side, there were 3 kinds of light seals that were constantly changing colors. There were 2 words written on it, Morning Sun. There was also a portrait of Yui Qiu. It was very realistic. There was a steel seal at the bottom right corner. Boss Yu, please wait for a moment. I will go and report to Xiao Bei. The guard's attitude changed. His tone was not so stiff, and there seemed to be a smile on his face. Of course. I am not in a hurry. The vegetables are covered tightly. The weather is not cold. I won't freeze. Yui Qiu felt honored that the guard's attitude had changed. When the guard arrived in front of Xiao Bei and the group of children had already stopped talking. They were looking towards the bridge. Who? When the guard came closer, Xiao Bei asked curiously. Shan Province, State City, Linhe Street. The boss of Yu family's Qing Miao Trading Company, Yu Yi Qiu. He said that he brought vegetables and a batch of stationery. In addition to the state government seal, there is also a ticket to participate in the Morning Sun operation. It has been checked. It is real. The guard did not speak nonsense and reported concisely. Xiao Bei was very surprised, then let him come over. How many times had he experienced the same scene since he was young? It was not easy to fish with Grandpa Bai. Grandpa Bai came all the way here. How could it be as simple as catching a few fish? It was time for a battle of wits and courage. Baigo's luck was not bad. The float moved. He shook the rod and a 3-inch long grass carp came up. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about whether his float moved or not. He took a deep breath. He knew that the business was coming. He smiled and said, Grandpa Bai's prestige is still the same as before. Good method. Ha! Baigo picked the fish and put it in the net. He smiled at Zhang Xiaobao and said, Xiaobao, what do you think this fish is? It's coming. Zhang Xiaobao thought. He tried to guess what Grandpa Bai was going to say. He said, grass carp. I'll fry it for you later. Do you want to make soup? What do you think? No hurry. It's just one. Baigo put the bait again and threw it into the water. Well, I'm not in a hurry. What can I do? Do you think I'm scared? Zhang Xiaobao smiled reservedly. His eyes swept across the water and the sky. The float in front of him suddenly moved. Zhang Xiaobao nimbly lifted the rod. It was still a grass carp. By rough estimation, it was half an inch longer than Baigo's. It was hard to tell how wide it was. He took it down and put it in the net. He adjusted the fishing line, put the bait again, and threw it into the water. Xiaobao, are you a grass carp too? Baigo asked knowingly. Zhang Xiaobao acted as if nothing had happened. Yes. Maybe there are many grass carps here. It's normal. Baigo smacked his lips and said in puzzlement, Xiaobao, why do I see that the fish we catch are all small? Is it? I don't think it's small. How big can a grass carp be? It's just a bubble. It's not a big river. Zhang Xiaobao's mind turned quickly. He wanted to avoid the topic. You mean it's not small? Baigo was surprised. It's over. When Zhang Xiaobao heard this question, he immediately regretted. It was the same word that Grandpa Bai used to describe him. It was impossible to guard against it. Indeed, old people were shrewd. Xiaobao, is it a yes or no? Baigo asked. Zhang Xiaobao was using his hand to grab a blade of grass beside him. Odd numbers meant yes, even numbers meant no. Yes, no, yes, no. When he grabbed the last leaf, it was yes. He then replied, what Grandpa Bai said makes sense. It's not small at all. Xiaobao, in your opinion, is a grass carp not small? Is it young or old? Baigo did not see the blade of grass that Zhang Xiaobao had pulled and continued to ask. Ah. Grandpa Bai, I was in a daze just now. What I meant was that the grass carp is still young. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had made a mistake in his judgment. Grass carps were not accurate. He quickly denied. Oh, I understand. Xiaobao, you have been too busy recently. You are always in a daze. You mean that it's young, right? Am I right? Baigo followed Zhang Xiaobao's words and asked again. Zhang Xiaobao touched the blade of grass that was pulled and wanted to cry. There was only one blade of grass beside him, and all the leaves were gone. If he had known earlier, he would have pulled half of it. He nodded and admitted. Grandpa Bai, you are right. It's small. It's really small. When Zhang Xiaobao was replying, he really wanted to change the topic. For example, the futures that the Japanese had created, or the prototype of warrants. He believed that he could definitely fool Grandpa Bai, as if it was a game. But now, that had nothing to do with it. Now, he was fishing. Baigo suddenly showed a pained expression. He frowned and said, Xiaobao, look, you also admitted that the fish you caught are small. It's not too small. It's edible. I will wrap it with noodles and fry it. It tastes good. Grandpa Bai, have you eaten cumin steamed fish before? Zhang Xiaobao tried his best to change the topic. At this time, Baigo lifted the rod again. You scared me. I didn't see the fish at all. Baigo said angrily. When he saw that the guards he brought were still confused, his anger burned even more. He lectured them, look, I was counting on you to protect me. If a team like Xiaobao fought me, this old man would definitely die with a grievance. It's good, right? In the blink of an eye, you will have to say goodbye to this beautiful world. The butler, Chongqing, was shocked. He moved closer and whispered, Master, I have already asked the leader of the guards to take care of them. Usually, they are not bad. There are not many teams in the world that can be as good as Jidushi Zhang's guards, right? Alright. When Xiao Bao's team first came out, my guards were slightly better. Later, when they came to Shuzhou, my guards were slightly worse. Now, let's not talk about it. Baigo waved his hand dispiritedly. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobao began to take off his clothes. He took off his clothes until he was only wearing a pair of shorts. He held the dagger in his hand and said to Baigo, Grandpa Bai, don't worry. I will go down and catch it. It is about 4 feet long and has become a demon. Don't say that your guards are not changing. They are not changing. As soon as Zhang Xiaobao's voice fell, he drew a beautiful arc in the air and plunged into the water with a splash. Baigo curled his lips, my ass. If you don't practice, you will become a demon. You will not change until you die. Prepare the net for me. Do you expect other people's elites to do the work? The second half of Baigo's sentence was directed at his guards. He directly regarded them as his assistants. He also understood why the emperor directly asked Xiao Bei and the others to come over, and why Xiao Bao and Cuckoo did not object. Xiao Bei's 9 children's bodyguards, compared to Xiao Bao's bodyguards, should only be stronger. Baigo guessed correctly. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not have the 2 fast gunmen that Watanabe Juchiro saw by Xiaobei's side. They only trained 2 qualified people and gave them to Xiaobei and the others. When Baigo's guards pulled the net left and right, planning to help Zhang Xiaobao, the water on the surface of the water began to churn. There was a faint dark red color in the water. After a while, it stopped churning and spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. It waved its hand toward the shore. Its elbow was bent as it pushed something toward the shore. When the water became shallow, the figure of the black fish was revealed. Zhang Xiaobao threw it into the water and no longer cared about it. He swung his left arm and walked to the shore, cursing, want to bite me? I broke its teeth and hit its face. The skin on its pads is broken. Bah! Zhang Xiaobao spat out another mouthful of blood. It seemed that his teeth were really broken. Baigo saw Zhang Xiaobao was injured, so his face sank, if you don't have the ability, don't go down and show off. How old are you? You are still like a child. I didn't show off. I just wanted to catch a live one. Otherwise, how could I be hurt by it? Let's not talk about the black fish. Let's see if a small shark dares to eat me. Unfortunately, you can't eat fresh fish. Take it back and I'll make half-fresh sashimi for you. Zhang Xiaobao looked very regretful. In the end, he still stabbed the black fish to death. The person in charge of carrying the fish saw that the black fish's eyes were obviously not pierced by a dagger. There were only 2 deep holes left, and the eyeballs were gone. Zhang Xiaobao probably pierced them with his fingers. There were a few wounds on the black fish's head. Wei Wei moved a little, but it would not come back to life. Bai Gou saw that Zhang Xiaobao was not seriously injured, so he pointed to the stool next to him. Let's send the fish back and chill it. Let's continue fishing. Where were we just now? The weather was not too cold, and it was almost noon. Zhang Xiaobao did not put on his clothes. He sat down in his pants and replied, "We were talking about the academy. I said that my academy was good. I didn't ask you about the latter part, the former part," Bai Shu reminded him. Before that, you said that there were many old men and that they were fighting for classes, so you had no classes. Before that. That's it. Before that, I asked you if the fish was too old to cook dishes. Is that true? Bai Gou said it out by himself. Zhang Xiaobao tried to recall. It seemed that time had passed too quickly. When Bai Gou was about to lose his patience, he finally showed a look of realization and said, "Yes, Grandpa. You have a good memory, Grandpa Bai. That depends on what kind of fish it is. For example, the black fish we caught just now was about 4 feet long. It was definitely not young, and it tasted better. What if people are old? Can they only eat and wait for death?" Bai Gou said with a sigh. Oh. Zhang Xiaobao understood that Grandpa Bai was suffering from the after-effects of retirement. In the past, he followed him everywhere. Later, when he went to the north, he could not take the old man with him. After a long time, the old man had nothing to do. People who had been officials for a long time were not like ordinary old people who could take care of their grandchildren. They always wanted to do things that were in line with their official status. Although between the clouds and the water in Sanshui County was good, it was not a place they could stay all year round. Grandpas all think so? Zhang Xiaobao asked as he clumsily assembled the fishing rod with one hand and tapped it on his face again and again. Everyone thinks so. Bai Gou looked depressed. It's simple. If you want to find something to do, just send a telegram or get someone to send a signal through the radio. I'll give you an idea. Why do you have to come here personally to fish? Zhang Xiaobao slapped his thigh and complained. Bai Gou glared at him. If you don't come here, do you think this old man can't even walk? Tell me, what's the job? Is there a salary? Yes, there's a lot of money. They will take the initiative to give it to you. Our Tang Empire's tourism industry is booming now. There are many places in my house. You can go and take a group of old men there. When you reach a place, you can praise them. For example, the water is good, the mountains are beautiful. If you want to move your arms, write couplets, or compose poems, just the money to polish your pen will be 10 times more than others. Eat, drink, and play. You won't have to pay a single cent. After a while, our tourism industry will open up in Japan. There's also Xinluo. If you're not afraid of storms, you can also go there. Zhang Xiaobao did not need to think too much. His eyes turned, and ideas came out like a gushing spring. Bai Gou did not care about his fishing rod. He felt that by the water, the autumn cold was heavy, which was the opposite of what Zhang Xiaobao thought was warm. He took out a flat glass bottle from his arms, shook the wine inside, unscrewed the cap and drank 2 mouthfuls. He exhaled deeply and said, "I regret it. If I had known, I would have brought Yao with me. I'm too old. I can't play tricks on you young people. Grandpa Bai, you came here and asked me to give you an idea. I gave you an idea. How can you say that I'm playing tricks? You make me so sad." Zhang Xiaobao put the fishing rod on the shelf. When he waved his hand, someone brought him some clean water. He began to wipe his body so that he could change into dry pants later. Bai Go did not believe Zhang Xiaobao's words. "If you're not sad, why do you have so many tricks? You took too long to recall just now. You even tapped your face a few times." "Did I? Oh, the black fish hit me. It hurts, so I tapped it a little to stimulate the blood flow. It's the same as cupping and scraping when you're sick. Ice chips, give me ice chips. My face hurts more when I hear Grandpa Bai's words." Zhang Xiaobao splashed water on himself and asked someone to find ice chips for him. Bai Go gave Zhang Xiaobao a look of disbelief and asked, "Tell me, what's your purpose other than to play?" "Grandpa Bai, you're wise. It's a long story. Make it short." "Well, in fact, not all places in the Tang Empire are suitable for tourism. You always praise me for being smart. I won't let people waste money to invest. Firstly, tourism has requirements for roads. It's not too expensive to build roads, and it's not all cement roads. Rich people can go over and say that they're willing to fork out money and talk to the local people. The people who are free will take the initiative to build roads. You're in charge of the money for the gunpowder and food. The people are willing to build roads in front of their homes. The power of the people, oh, the power of the people is very strong. They will quickly build a road that is cheap and convenient. The imperial court will then fork out money to build the main road, and all the roads will be connected." Zhang Xiaobao raised a finger and explained his original intention of developing tourism. "What's the second reason?" Bai Go felt that he was back in the yamen and asked. "The second reason is that the Tang Empire has many special products and minerals. When I asked people to draw the map, I had already explored it. With the development of technology, there are more ways to explore. The resources that were not discovered in the past will be valued by the businessmen who invest money after the tourism industry. We'll note it down, but not mine. If we can plunder it, we must plunder it and leave some for our descendants. When technology reaches a certain level, there will be an explosion of resources. The Tang Empire wants to encourage plundering." Zhang Xiaobao was almost done washing. He stood there and waited for the clothes to dry. He raised another finger. Bai Go closed his eyes and pondered. Chapter 946. Bai Go pestered Zhang Xiaobao and asked Zhang Xiaobao to tell him all his plans. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, insisted that life was not easy. When he was asked too much, he would answer perfunctorily. For example, the purpose was to let a group of elders find local specialties during their trip and bring them back to him so that he could consider whether he could plant them, especially the precious medicinal herbs. Such a small matter was not worth Zhang Xiaobao's attention. As for whether there were more important matters, of course, there were, but Zhang Xiaobao did not want to tell Bai Go everything. Otherwise, when traveling, there would be too many things on his mind and the elders would not have a good time. Only when there was a need, Zhang Xiaobao would ask someone to send a message to the elders and ask them to help. Bai Go saw that he could not get an answer, so he could only give up temporarily and continue fishing. Today, he caught a grass carp and consecutively caught a few more grass carps. Finally, his interest was exhausted. He said that the other fish in the water had been eaten by the black fish and went back with Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao accompanied Bai Go back to the yamen. At the same time, he asked someone to pull the net and catch a lot of fish. All kinds of freshwater fish added up to 300 catties. They brought it back as an extra dish for the guards at noon. In fact, Zhang Xiaobao was not the only one who ate fish. Hong Nong also specially formed a team to catch fish. When the water rushed, many fish directly flowed into the fields. When the water receded, it would be even more difficult for them to come out again. In places where the water was deep, they directly used nets. In places where the water was shallow, they rolled up their trousers and used hooks to fish. In other places, before the food Zhang Xiaobao gathered arrived, they boiled the fish into soup and let the laborers eat it with steamed buns or rice. Bai Go came in a hurry and received an answer. However, he could not rush back immediately. He found a job in the yamen as an accountant and used his remaining energy. During the day, he took an hour or so to walk around the streets where the water receded and see the bustling scene at the construction site. Every time he saw a commoner who worked hard, he would first sigh with emotion. Their families had been destroyed, and they had lost their relatives. Not a single one of them had ever complained. They were all working hard. The more this was the case, the more Bai Go gritted his teeth as he looked at Yan Zheng who was standing outside the south gate. He wished that he could use his knife to slice off Yan Zheng's flesh and cook it. However, he knew that it would only benefit Yan Zheng. Xiao Bei is really smart. She's a good child. Another day, Bai Go arrived at the south gate. He looked at Yan Zheng, who was firmly tied up and exposed to the elements. Yan Zheng's hair was messy, his skin was cracked, his eyes were lifeless, and his mouth was puckered. He felt very relieved. The reason he praised Xiao Bei was because when Xiao Bei first saw Yan Zheng, he had his teeth knocked out and said that he would not let him die a quick death. If Xiao Bei hadn't been sensible at that time, it would have been too easy for him to kill Yan Zheng with one sentence. Yan Zheng was behind the south gate and had never seen Bai Go up close. At this time, he saw that there was another person beside him who was still standing there. He thought that it was another person who had come to scold him. He struggled to turn his head to take a look. Perhaps he could gain some sympathy and leave a way out for his family. He saw an old man with a head full of white hair and a frosty beard. He stood there with his hands behind his back. He knew that he was not an ordinary person. He said in a hoarse voice that was almost inaudible, "One person's crime, one person's punishment. His family does not know." Bai Go saw that the other party did not even know who he was inside. "Yan Zheng, do you still remember me?" You are." Yan Zheng opened his eyes and looked at the person beside him. He suddenly realized, You are the Minister of Revenue, Crown Prince Zhan Shi, Bai Go, Bai Long Zai. You are responsible for your own actions. I am the former Minister of Revenue. I was also the Hunan magistrate. When I was the Hunan magistrate, I did not encounter anything like Hong Nong. I admit that I am not a good person, but I am not as cruel as you. Don't tell me about your crimes. I don't care. Bai Go had planned to scold him, but suddenly he was not in the mood. But, protect my children. In the next life. Don't mention the next life to me. I only ask about this life. I am a farmer. I can't protect anyone, let alone your children. If it were anyone else, I would not dare to protect them. His Majesty personally appointed Zhang Xiaobei and the other 9 people here. Who dares to interfere? His Majesty's edict has been sent to Japan. His Majesty's edict will come out soon. If Japan dares to not let your family come back, Wangwon dares to gather the elites of the Tang Empire and attack Japan with the help of the gunboats. She does not care about the blood staining the mountains and rivers. However, maybe Zhang Xiaobao will be soft-hearted and can be flexible. But you have to live like you are now. Otherwise, when you die, Zhang Xiaobao will make your family suffer for you. Eat and sleep as you should. Don't let others force you. Baigo threatened Yan Zheng and his family. Then he walked away with his hands behind his back. A glimmer of hope appeared in Yan Zheng's dim eyes. He shouted, "I want to eat porridge, I want to live." Baigo really did not know. When they were on the train, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had discussed the countermeasures. How is this the Tang dynasty? I'm a man full of talent, but I'm actually ordered around as a cook. The human heart is not what it used to be, it's really not what it used to be. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and pushed the door open, leaving Wang Wan sitting there and laughing. After laughing, she looked at the back of the kitchen and murmured sweetly, "I'm bullying you. Full of talent. I think you're full of evil tricks. Not to mention the Tang dynasty, even if you run to the primitive society, you'll still have to cook for me. I'm depending on you, humph." Since they said they were going to eat malatang for lunch, they definitely had to eat it. However, Zhang Xiaobao was not stupid enough to make all the skewers himself. He found a few helpers to make the skewers, and he made the malatang soup himself. All kinds of things that could be used as traditional Chinese medicine were fried as seasonings. He also asked someone to extract pepper oil. He didn't use oil to fry pepper, but squeezed out pepper oil like how he squeezed bean oil. After that, he used lamb bones to make soup. When the soup was done, he used chicken to make soup. Then, he used another pot to make Christian carp soup. Finally, he mixed them together and used them to make malatang soup. Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to make soup with water and seasonings. Zhang Xiaobao was busy preparing the ingredients for the malatang soup. Just then, Bai Shu came back. As soon as he entered the door, he took a deep breath and praised, "It smells good. The Christian carp that I caught with great difficulty yesterday is not cooked, right? I plan to raise it in a wooden basin and eat it." "Grandpa Bai, the Christian carp you mentioned was made into soup by Xiao Bao." Wang Wan immediately complained. Bai Shu looked at the soup and shook his head, "No, the Christian carp is milky white. Don't bully this old man because I don't understand. Your soup doesn't count the color of the seasonings and chili oil. It should be clear soup." In the future, every time someone came to pick up the dolls and send them elsewhere to be sold, they would bring all kinds of seafood. Early the next morning, Xiaobei's team rushed to the train station and met up with her brother's team. They boarded the train and headed for the capital amidst the rumbling sound. "Brother, didn't you see that guy called Shuichiro Watanabe? He's a fool and wants to treat others as fools. He wants to bribe us with 300,000 strings of cash every year. Tell me, what can I do?" Xiaobei sat opposite her brother and rolled a boiled egg on the table in the middle, showing off her cleverness to her brother. "You can't do it. Our family Xiaobei isn't stupid. Eat it quickly. You promised to eat a boiled egg a day. I heard that you didn't do it thoroughly when you were in Old Willow Village." Zhang Xiaobao pointed at the egg in his sister's hand and wanted to take it and peel it. Xiaobei hurriedly stretched out her hands to protect it. Wait a moment. Let me adjust my mood and eat it with spicy sauce, okay? Brother, who told you that I didn't eat the egg? I said it was a joint report and a fingerprint. Do you want to take a look? Do you need to adjust your mood to eat a boiled egg? Throw it outside the train. I'll make you steamed egg cream. Zhang Xiaobao was about to get up and go to the dining car of the train. No, I don't like to eat the yolk of boiled eggs. I like to eat salted eggs. I'll drink some water and eat it. I can't throw it away. I won't look at the joint name anymore. Actually, I know who it is. Whoever cares about me is the one who told you first. Brother, can you think of a way to make the yolk of boiled eggs better? You're so good. Xiaobei couldn't bear to throw away an egg. She knew that there were people who couldn't eat eggs, so she turned around and gave her brother a difficult problem. She felt that it was very difficult. Unexpectedly, her brother Zhang Xiaobao didn't think much and immediately nodded. Your brother and I come from that world to protect you guys. If we don't come, who will pamper you, right? Wang Wan followed Xiaobei's words. Yes, then you can go to a more powerful world. Remember to take me with you. I want to compete with them. I want to stand on the sword and fly to the world where the stars are. At that time, I will have the Universe suppressing wheel in my left hand, the star 8 trigrams banner in my right hand, and my feet. Xiaobei entered her own fantasy and told her brother and sister about the dream she had created. The full moon shone in the sky. As soon as the train arrived at the station, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately led their younger siblings into the palace. The palace gate, which should have been closed, was left open. Li Longji was still awake and waiting in Xingqing Palace. He wanted to get the latest news and the most accurate details from Zhang Xiaobao and the rest. After all, the news that came previously couldn't be too specific. Xiaobei represented the 9 children and was the first to speak. She told Li Longji how she received the order to rush to Hongnong immediately, how she swam across the water and saw a child from the school. Then, she told him how Yan Jing tried to cheat her and how she taught him a lesson. She even promoted the dolls from Old Willow Village to Li Longji. Finally, she mentioned that she had lent him 1.3 million strings of cash. Li Longji listened to Xiaobei's introduction and was furious. He said a few harsh words directed at the officials and praised Xiaobei and the rest. However, he seemed to have forgotten about the 1.3 million strings of cash that Xiaobei had mentioned. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to explain the reconstruction situation to Li Longji, Xiaobei stuck close to Xiao Yuan and muttered, "It's obvious that he doesn't want to return the money to us. Let's bring a few more dolls tomorrow and exchange them with the concubines in the palace." Even the worst of their things cost more than dolls. I knew he wouldn't give it to us. He'll probably stay at home and study tomorrow. Don't think about coming out. How much money can we get by exchanging dolls? When we were on the train, didn't brother say that he wanted to build an amusement park under our management? That's the most profitable. After the Japanese compensate us, perhaps brother will give us the money. Xiao Yuan had an expression that said, "I understand." Xiaobei hesitated and said, "Brother, if you really give us the money, let's not take it. When I said that I would take the money, I didn't expect anyone to return it. You guys support me, right?" "Yes, we support you. But if the Japanese compensate us, why don't we take it? We have money. The next time no one pays us back, we'll take it out. Otherwise, if we encounter an emergency again, we won't have any money to use." Xiao Yuan expressed her opinion. "Alright, if they really compensate us, we'll take it. Tonight, we'll go back and sleep. After we've slept enough, we'll discuss the matter of the amusement park tomorrow. I plan to take out our small house and rent it out." Xiaobei also began to plan to work hard to earn money. "That's agarwood. We can build it according to our house using other wood. As for the decorations inside, we can replace them with cheap things." Xiao Yuan was obviously reluctant to rent the house to other children. "That's true. We'll think of other ways." Xiaobei lowered her head and fell into deep thought. Zhang Xiaobao was still talking to Li Longji. He didn't mention too much about the captured officials. He didn't need to care about them when they were sent to the capital. He needed Li Longji to cooperate and put pressure on the Japanese to send 200,000 railway workers to the Great Tang as soon as possible. He also needed to improve the tariff system so that they could engage in unequal economic trade and plunder more. Li Longji listened attentively and had people take note of it one by one. Now, under the influence of Zhang Xiaobao, he had become more pragmatic. He wasn't good at boasting about his reputation. He was willing to build up his reputation. The so-called building up his reputation was what Zhang Xiaobao told him. If he had money, he could build as tall as he wanted and as grand as possible. When he had nothing to do, he could travel and experience the magnificence of the rivers and mountains. He could go to Hainan and experience the winter and summer scenery. He could also play sea fishing and personally go to Lake Tai to fish for crabs. He could also look at the tides in Qiantang and go to the grasslands to admire the clear skies. This was his reputation. Compared to giving a lot of money to his subordinates and having them call him a fool behind his back, it was better to spend the money himself. Li Longji was fooled just like that. If someone were to ask him who was the best person in Great Tang, he would definitely say himself. The next person would be Zhang Xiaobao. The other officials were all afraid of him spending money. They had to persuade him to build a garden or go out for a stroll. How could they be compared to Zhang Xiaobao? Not only did he not persuade him, he even encouraged him and thought of ways to get money. Even if the imperial court couldn't fork out the money, he was willing to fork out the money himself. Thus, in order to go against that powerful country in the future, in order to be able to travel and build beautiful houses, Li Longji placed more and more importance on technology and money. Oh, he was placing more and more importance on the development of technology and economy. As for the construction of spiritual civilization, Zhang Xiaobao wasn't worried about it. Great Tang had very strict requirements in this regard. If a person did something immoral and was criticized by others, their face would turn red. At this moment, Li Longji wished he could grow a pair of wings and fly there to have a look. Zhang Xiaobao struck while the iron was hot. Your Majesty, the Tang Empire is yours. Isn't it easy for you to go there? You're the emperor. It's normal for the emperor to look at his own empire. 10 days is too slow to travel to Jili province. The new steam engine is coming out soon. When the time comes, even if you go to Luzhou, as long as the railway is built, I guarantee that you'll reach there in 5 days. That's right, Your Majesty. When you reach Luzhou, you'll be able to see the real blue sea and silver sand. You'll be able to see the coconut grove at night, the sea and the sky merging into one, and the fishing boats singing at night, Wang Wan chimed in. Li Longji knew that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were tempting him, but he also knew that they were not lying. The place they were talking about was indeed beautiful. That's right. I'm the Emperor of Tang. Why can't I go there and have a look? It was just money. The imperial court's treasury was getting more and more money. Even if the officials objected, Xiao Bao's family was rich. Spending some of his money would not make him poor. Especially with the radio station, where could he not govern? With that thought in mind, Li Longji asked Zhang Xiaobao, Xiaobao, if the imperial court can't pay for the railway, will your family? Li Longji did not finish his words, but his meaning was clear. Xiao Bei pouted at the side. Xiao Yuan, how can you do that? Uncle Emperor didn't mention our money, and he wants our family to pay for it. Fortunately, I can make money. What if I can't? Xiao Yuan smacked his lips. If brother can't make money, we'll have to live a hard life. We won't have so many guards when we go out. The inner court can't change shifts every few hours. We'll have to work from morning to night. It's terrifying just thinking about it. Perhaps Xiao Bei was thinking about the consequences of not having money. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He said fearfully, "Fortunately, life now is not a dream." Zhang Xiaobao could not hear his younger brother and sister's words. After Li Longji finished speaking, he replied, "Your Majesty, if you need my family to pay for it, my family will definitely do so. However, my family and the National Treasury do not need to spend money. It's very simple to raise the cost of the railway. Money is not a problem." Li Longji nodded. "We like to hear Xiaobao speak." The servants around them agreed. Who wouldn't like to hear Zhang Xiaobao say that money is not a problem? Then, go and get it done as soon as possible. Li Longji urged. "Your Majesty, the matter of money is easy to solve. The Great Tang Bank has a lot of money. If you don't want the money, I'll help you with the operation. The annual profits won't be any less than the National Treasury. Furthermore, when the deposit, withdrawal, and loan reserves reach a certain ratio, there's a lot of money that can be withdrawn at any time. In fact, the railway can be directly issued with bonds. Once the railway is built, the trains can be operated. Whether it's transporting people or goods, as long as there's not too much personal profit involved, and there's not too much that's harmful to the public's interests, the railway can be quickly recovered." So, Wang Wan continued, "So, Your Majesty, in the future, when you look for Xiao Bao, don't worry about money. Xiao Bao is afraid of many things, but he's not afraid of a lack of money. Xiao Bao's meaning is that if the railway is built, people will die. Parents will lose their children, wives will lose their husbands, and children will lose their fathers. For a family, this is too heavy a burden. The reason why I fight so viciously is because I want to intimidate others so that in the future, I won't fight so many battles. Not fighting doesn't mean that I'm afraid. I just don't want to do it. If you force me to do it, Great Tang's men don't lack hot-bloodedness. If Great Tang's soldiers arrive at a city and surrender, they will be provided with food, clothing, medical care, and education. If Great Tang's soldiers arrive at a city and don't surrender, the city will be destroyed and slaughtered." Wang Wan's first words made Li Longji feel very gratified, but the second half was a bit frightening. Li Longji knew that Wang Wan valued the lives of her soldiers. She gave them a lot of compensation, so much so that some people were willing to take the initiative to die in battle. And Zhang Xiaobao was ruthless, not caring about internal matters. Thus, he said, "With Cuckoo here, I'm worried about Great Tang. Didn't you say that 200,000 people would come from Japan to build the railway? Not enough. How about this, there are still the strong Kunlun slaves. I'll think of a way to get people from other places to help build the railway. My Great Tang's people can just watch from the side. How about it?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about how history evaluated Li Longji. He only knew that the Li Longji in front of him made him feel very comfortable. He was the emperor, so he had to act like one. What kind of emperor was an emperor if he didn't love the people? With Your Majesty's words, this subject will forge steel. Even if I have to use part of Great Tang's reserves, if Your Majesty can mobilize 1 million non-Tang craftsmen for this subject will make a military pledge. Within a year, this subject will build 30,000 li of railway. This subject isn't worried about money, but this subject is afraid that there won't be enough manpower. Zhang Xiaobao said fiercely. 1 million workers to build 30,000 li of railway. On average, 100 people would need to build 3 li of railway a year. 3 li, not 3 kilometers, was less than 1,500 meters, or 1,400 meters. There were countless cables on them and most of them were worn out. There were officials and rich people on them, and they were as bright as spring. There were also soldiers in formation, and they were as black as iron. The ship that was approaching the shore gave people a special feeling, but they could not tell the specific difference at the moment. The color dyed the fruits of autumn, like leaves and branches. When the wind blows, the glow is warm. It is soft but not soft. It is hard but not dissatisfied. It is end but not strong. It is clustered but not tight. Before the dance, the heart is moved. It is surging without waves. In a trance, the sky echoes far away. It gives people the feeling like. A student was helping the workers at the docks analyze the differences between the incoming ships. Towards the end, he didn't know how to describe it. Beside him, there was a child holding a yellow bristle grass in his hand. He jumped over and continued the student's words. Like the Jinja Academy, the white dew is frost. The so-called lover is on the other side of the water. Yes, that's right. How is the layout of the attic on the ship arranged? How are the colors applied? It actually gives people the feeling of spring and autumn, as if it has lived through the 4 seasons and has never forgotten the cold and warmth. This is the Jinja Academy. The student shook his head and sighed. He was not facing the sharpness, but the depth. The ship and the water were in harmony. It was both distant and near. The ship of the Jinja Academy slowly approached the shore in silence and anticipation. It was only when someone on the ship called that the workers at the docks woke them up. They were busy throwing ropes and helping. When the ship came to a stop, a staircase came down and people began to walk from the ship to the shore. The students of Jinja Academy lined up in 2 rows and walked down steadily step by step. Their eyes were clear and unbiased. They were neither arrogant nor pretentious. Just like the ship they had just seen, they were calm and unperturbed. The people on the shore stared at them. They saw that the people from Jinja Academy were wearing brown shoes and bright gray robes. When they walked, they could see that they were wearing light black pants. Their hair was tied up loosely with a silk scarf on their heads. On their chests, there was a light green word Jinja. When all the students of the Jinja Academy got off the ship, they split into groups and boarded the carriages that came to pick them up. So this is the famous Jinja Academy. A student stared at the people of the Jinja Academy without blinking. When the carriages moved toward the city gate and gradually became small dots, he said enviously. Yes. Another student said, while we were worrying about whether we could pass the exam, they already knew how to be an official. It has been 7 years. Not a single person from the Jinja Academy who came to take the exam failed, and I have never heard of anyone resigning. The only one who left his position was the county magistrate who commanded the people to save themselves on the banks of the Wei River during the heavy snow 5 years ago. He died from overwork. After that, the Jinja Academy immediately added a class to recover a lot of energy through a short period of deep sleep. The Jinja Academy is called the Jinja Academy for a person. The Tao is vast, but it is in the center of the water. The arrival of the students of the Jinja Academy made some of the students who wanted to take advantage of the fall quarter examinations lose confidence. The students who had not seen it with their own eyes at the docks heard that more than 100 people from the Jinja Academy had come this time. With them here, the requirements for admission would definitely be raised. They were under great pressure. The scholars of the Jinja Academy had no time to care about what others thought. After they were arranged to stay in a courtyard with 4 entrances behind the savants' restaurant, they bathed, ate, and rested for a while. Then, they received the information sent by Zhang Xiaobao. The content of the information was about the current situation in Hunan province. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listed some ideas and asked them to look at them and improve or change them. The scholars looked at the information very seriously. To them, compared to the matters arranged by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, the fall quarter examinations were not that important. This was because the two of them needed people who could succeed when faced with adversity, not people who only had good results but would say that they had not adapted to the situation when it came to concrete matters. Only when the sun was about to rise and those who had memorized the contents of the materials and had their own ideas fell asleep one by one. At noon, Zhang Xiaobao brought a few chefs over to personally cook for the students. There were a total of 120 scholars in this year's fall quarter examinations. A portion of them were lacking in various aspects, so they continued to struggle and study in preparation for next year's spring quarter examinations. Because the Great Tang had developed too quickly in recent years, many officials could not keep up with the pace. Thus, Li Longji was not satisfied. After discussing with Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and 10 some other important officials, they decided to change a batch of officials. As a result, there would be imperial examinations every year. Some of them even had the ability to do things, but they did not understand the various scriptures well enough. Thus, they were given a chance to become an official. As for the previous officials, they would have to relearn something like the party school. The shortest would be half a year, and the longest would be 3 years. They would be paid, and the land that was given to them would not be taken back. Those who had completed their studies would be rearranged. Those who still could not complete their studies would be given a pension and allowed to retire. Thus, those who had the ability and the will to fight were not afraid of not having a chance. Zhang Xiaobao did not care too much about the details. The reason why he asked for a chef to come was because he did not want to let the 120 scholars eat from the same big pot. Otherwise, he would just take a spade and choose a big pot to cook for 120 people. It was very easy to cook one dish per pot. In the past, when he was in the labor camp to learn new skills, he had done this many times. I don't have money. The food in there is really not good. Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan, who had come over to watch him while he was cooking. Why is it not good? Wang Wan did not understand clearly enough. Let's talk about the food first. It makes people speechless. Zhang Xiaobao weighed the dish with a spoon and then put the chopped green onions into the oil. Eat cornbread. Wang Wan was puzzled. You wish. How expensive is the corn flour? How big is the price of 2 cornbread per person? It makes people look like they are being abused. What we eat is the sponge cake. The sponge cake is big, and we use the worst flour. As long as it is fermented well, we won't be able to tell anything from the appearance. When we are cooking, we use whatever is cheap. If there is an early morning market nearby, it will save money. We can pick up some vegetable leaves and get some coarse salt. Have you seen the frozen chicken rack? The cost is 80 cents to 1 renminbi per chicken. Many people buy them because they are not a good breed of dog. Put 2 in a pot and fry the vegetables until they are done. Finally, scoop a spoon of gutter oil and pour it into the pot to stir. Well, this is called the oil slick. When Zhang Xiaobao was talking, he put the spoon out of the pot. Wei Wei followed the spoon. The charcoal fire below was strong enough. With a whoosh, the whole pot was on fire. Wang Wan felt distressed and said, "You only eat that." "I won't eat it. I've tasted it twice, and I won't eat it in the future. Only poor people eat it. I'll give some of the money I stole to discipline them, and they'll be treated well. What's the point of being a leader? I'll respect whoever can teach me some skills, and I'll beat those who can't. If you are so good, why are you still cooking? I am still moving bricks. My body needs exercise." The vegetables in Zhang Xiaobao's hands were done. He washed the pot, put in the oil again, and prepared to cook. "Listening to you, it is quite interesting. Wang Wan's knowledge of that place came more from the publicity. She had not experienced it personally. It is a pity that you don't have a chance to try it. Over there, the rich are the masters, and the poor can't fight. Even if you want to be a grandson, you have to line up. You also have to give half of your cake to those who can fight but have no money. In that place, you are not afraid of tiring work, but you are afraid of no work. No matter how tiring the work is, you can eat your fill. You are either beaten or beaten. Zhang Xiaobao cooked the new dishes and told Wang Wan as if he was telling a funny story. The cooks worked hard. In less than half an hour, the dishes were ready. 8 hot dishes, 1 soup, and 4 cold plates were served to the table where the students ate. The students were already in their seats, but they were standing next to their seats. Zhang Xiaobao cooked personally, so they did not dare to sit and wait. Zhang Xiaobao carried a dish and put it on the table closest to him. He clapped his hands and said, "Okay, sit down. Everyone can have at most 3 cups of wine. White wine is not allowed. First, allow my wife to speak to everyone. Please." The students felt much more relaxed. He can stipulate that he has the right to let the breeder take the animals out a few times a month and let them follow him to a safe place to play. He needs to pay the breeder a sum of money, which is to say, the zoo. Thus, his identity will be revealed. When he has nothing to do, he will take 2 camels out to go shopping, which will immediately attract a lot of attention. Zhang Xiaobao then talked about the second way he and Wang Wan came up with. Li Longji and Gao Lishur thought for a moment. The first way was okay. The money spent on advertising was not wasted. As for the second way, Xiaobao, the second way seems unreasonable. If he buys it, why can't he take it home? If he keeps it in the zoo for people to see, shouldn't he also collect some money? I can't bully people, right? Li Longji thought it was unreasonable. There was another sentence he didn't say. That is, if I really lack money, why should I ask random people for money? If I let you, Zhang Xiaobao, take it, will you dare to not take it? It's better to target you than to bully others. At this time, Wang Wan said, "Your Majesty, it's different. He doesn't know how to raise animals. If he raises them himself, they will die. If he wants to raise them himself, he won't sell them. When Xiao Bao and I were in the countryside, we saw cattle rearing. Some rich people bought cows, but they always died. I don't know if it was because the feng shui was bad or they couldn't find a good breeder. When they finally survived, the cows became thin and couldn't work anymore. They found someone who was good at raising cattle. When they couldn't bring this person back to their home, they placed the cattle in this person's home to raise. 10 or so cattle were enough to plow a large piece of land. Jean Gui, not only were they responsible for the feed, but they also had to build a cowshed in that person's home. What if the cows die? Gao Lishur asked. It depends on what was said before. If it's compensation, then it's compensation. But if it's compensation, the person who raised the cows also has to pay more. Let's try and see who's willing to buy. Li Longji was tempted. If he could sell half of them, it would be another large sum of money. Afraid that others wouldn't be willing to buy, Li Longji waved at a palace maid and called her over. He asked, "You heard what I said just now. I ask you, if I sell you animals in my zoo, are you willing to buy them?" The palace maid seemed a little nervous. She shook her head and nodded. Your Majesty, this servant can't sell. This servant has to serve Your Majesty. If Your Majesty really wants to sell, this servant wants to order a tiger on behalf of second uncle's family. Your second uncle? Gao Lisher asked in puzzlement. He's a 6th-rank military officer. When he has nothing to do, he likes to go hunting. When there's something to do, this servant will follow second uncle's family to take a look. Second uncle likes to come to the zoo and likes tigers. The palace maid told him about her mistake and looked at Gao Lisher nervously. Oh. Li Longji nodded. He didn't care if the palace maid sneaked out of the palace. It wasn't a strange thing. Everyone knew it. He couldn't pursue it at the moment. Otherwise, who would dare to tell the truth to him? Ignoring the palace maid's mistake, Li Longji said to the palace maid, "Find someone to send a message to your second uncle. Tell him that the zoo will take out animals from today. If he wants to buy them, let him go to the zoo to discuss with the manager." The palace maid nodded again and carefully returned to her previous position with a nervous and excited look on her face. Zhang Xiaobao knew that a tiger had been sold. When the palace maid's second uncle got the news, even if he didn't want to buy it, he had to pay for it. Moreover, he had to rush to the zoo to buy the first animal, the tiger he wanted, before everyone else. Otherwise, Zhang Xiaobao would definitely keep talking about 1.3 million strings of coins. After discussing the matter, Zhang Xiaobao really did eat at the zoo at noon. He killed a bear and brought the bear paw back for Li Longji to eat. Otherwise, he would leave it for his brother and sister to have a change of taste. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to Savant's restaurant and continued to feel the tense atmosphere. Tomorrow's imperial examination was set to be held in Hibiscus Garden. Someone had already set up the examination hall. At this time, ordinary people were not allowed to enter. The examinees were nervous, insomniac, and excited. They all had different expressions. Zhang Xiaobao, who had always appeared relaxed, became nervous at noon. It wasn't because of the imperial examination, but because someone reported that 2 of Shuiyun's and Hong Wan's children had hatched. Shuiyun's children were eagles, not chicks. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both became nervous. This was because eagles would usually do one thing after hatching, which was to push down their siblings who hadn't hatched yet. 11 eggs represented 11 eagles. If one fell, there would be one less. Zhang Xiaobao didn't even bother to eat. Together with Wang Wan, he brought his younger siblings and a large group of people to the artificial salt lake. Looking up with a pair of binoculars, Zhang Xiaobao took a deep breath and asked the person next to him, "Is everything ready?" "Yes." Next to Shuiyun's and Hongwan's nests, there's a big circle 1 centimeter lower. Just use soft grass to cover it. If the eggs are pushed out of the nests, they won't fall to the ground or into the lake, the steward who was asked said with certainty. What's Shuiyun's and Hongwan's reaction? Wang Wan asked. Hongwan hasn't come down. Shuiyun came down the day before yesterday and broke open the guard's house. He dragged out the quilt from inside, tore open the cloth, took out a lot of cotton, and brought it up. Today, an eagle hatched, so Shuiyun came down and called out a few times. Zhang Ying climbed up with a bunch of raised insects and hasn't come down yet. Shuiyun is also here. He's probably discussing with Zhang Ying how to raise the children. Little Gongzi, don't worry. We will definitely guard this place and not leave any loopholes. The steward guaranteed. Shuiyun was a high-ranking official and had made great contributions in the Tubo battlefield in the northern part of Hebei province. He and Hongwan's children were probably not ordinary people. While waiting, several eagle cries sounded from the sky and a big white eagle fell down. Zhang Xiaobao hurriedly took a leather arm glove from the side. Just as he put it on his arm, the big white bird suddenly slowed down and landed on Zhang Xiaobao's arm. I knew it. The 2 of us are still the best. Zhang Xiaobao touched Shuiyun's neck on his right arm with his left hand and said happily. Shuiyun also seemed to be very happy. This was a comrade in arms who had fought side by side. If it could speak, it might even praise Zhang Xiaobao's two sharp spears when Zhang Xiaobao flew into the sky to deal with the group of eagles. Brother, I want to touch Shuiyun. It's so beautiful. Xiao Bei wasn't afraid at all and looked up from Zhang Xiaobao's leg. Zhang Xiaobao squatted down and first touched Shuiyun. This was Xiao Bei, that was Xiao Yuan, and the others. Xiao Bei boldly reached out to touch Shuiyun. Shuiyun really didn't move and allowed Xiao Bei to touch its feathers. Xiao Bei was so happy that it giggled. Is the house warm? Zhang Xiaobao asked Shuiyun as if he was talking to a human. Shuiyun called out. Oh, it's warm. Where's the food? We're feeding the insects now. When they grow bigger, we'll have to feed them meat. I'll get someone to get some live lambs. You can choose for yourself. I'll have to wait until the feathers are molted and the shape is fixed. There's a red one for you. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his sister's head, stood up, and continued to look up. Seeing that there were no big problems, he ordered, give the order. No unrelated people are allowed to come close. Enforce martial law within 1,000 meters. Other than Her Majesty, all other princes and princesses are to be stopped. Especially during my exam. If anyone dares to come over and cause trouble, shoot them on the spot. If they die, it's on me. As soon as Zhang Xiaobao's voice fell, the sound of orderly running came from the road leading to this place. Most people turned their heads to look and saw a group of strong men running over. They were all carrying guns. The eunuch at the front was Luo Bin, who often interacted with Zhang Xiaobao. Seeing the group's attire, Zhang Xiaobao was relieved. They were the Jinwu guards, Li Longji's personal guards. With a rough look, there were 200 people. Luo Bin ran to the front and panted twice. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, Lord Zhang, Her Majesty heard that Shui Yun and Hong Wan's child was born. She ordered this little one to bring 200 Jinwu guards to protect them. Whoever dares to wantonly harm the son of an official will be severely punished. Enforce martial law within a radius of 3 li. No one is allowed to pass or approach. Luo Bin's voice was very loud, no quieter than Zhang Xiaobao's. When the surrounding people heard this, they thought, great, Zhang Xiaobao only wanted to enforce martial law within 1,000 meters. The emperor actually directly cordoned off an area of 3 li and even sent out the Jinwu guards. If Shui Yun was a human, she would be satisfied with her life. Zhang Xiaobao was happy. Good, let me thank Her Majesty for her grace. Lord Zhang, this little one can't go back. This little one wants to stay here. Her Majesty said that if Shui Yun's child's life is in danger because of other people's disturbance, she will chop off this little one's head. Therefore, Lord Zhang, this little one also needs to use your family's guards. If anyone dares to barge in, this little one will first beat them to death for the sake of my head. Luo Bin put his hand on his neck and gestured, as if he was afraid of death. Zhang Xiaobao stretched out his hand to Wang Wan. Wang Wan took out a few banknotes from her bag and handed them to Luo Bin. She said, then I'll trouble you. Luo Bin happily took the money. He didn't look at the exact amount, thinking that it couldn't be bad. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao was about to leave, he hurriedly said, Lord Zhang, Her Majesty said that you should keep 2. If you want to give the rest away, you can distribute it. Your Majesty. Zhang Xiaobao agreed and walked back with his people. He secretly cursed Li Longji. No wonder he sent the Jinwu guards. He actually only asked for 2 and even said that the rest would be distributed. He didn't believe that Li Longji couldn't guess that the rest just happened to be one for each of Xiaobei and the others. 2 wasn't too much or too little. Shui Yun and Hong Wan's children were all gone. Wife, do you think this counts as our dear Her Majesty's kindness to Shui Yun? Zhang Xiaobao saw that there were no outsiders around and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was also very helpless. Forget it, forget it. It's mainly because Shui Yun's ability is too dazzling. Who doesn't want to get one? For the next nest, there will be a prince or something to greet us. I don't know if Shui Yun is convinced or sad to be valued so much. It should be. I've never heard that the little eagles have to live with their parents when they grow up and have their own families. Let's go. No matter how big they get, we still want a nest of children. We can't let Shui Yun outshine us. You can go give birth with the pigs. Shui Yun's storm could be said to have just started. The princes, and their sons were in a powerless situation. They couldn't compete with the emperor and could only continue to look forward to the next nest. The civil officials felt that the emperor's care for Shui Yun was excessive and discussed spiritedly. The military officials, on the other hand, were gratified. In their eyes, Shui Yun was a similar species. Back then, it was able to fly thousands of li to deliver news, which was incomparable to an urgent report from 800 li away. The emperor's care for it was a meritorious service that must be rewarded. The military officials knew that without Shui Yun, Wang Wan wouldn't have been able to achieve such impressive results. Shui Yun not only cooperated with small groups to launch sneak attacks, but also observed the enemy's situation and was responsible for air control. People said, Guan Shan's endless blade glints coldly, throwing away heads to fight for their lives on the battlefield. In Lingtian, who dares to flap their wings, guarding 1,000 li alone, an eagle soars. Therefore, the military officials regarded Shui Yun as a hero. At the very least, there was no one in the heavens who could match up to her. Could it be that such a hero needed someone to disturb her when she gave birth to a child? Zhang Xiaobao didn't know that the civil and military officials of the imperial court were divided into 2 factions. They were fighting a war of words in front of Li Longji. The civil officials spoke in a genteel manner, quoting classics. The military officials were more heroic, cursing as soon as they opened their mouths. They rolled up their sleeves, and their spittle flew everywhere. If it wasn't for Li Longji, they probably would have gone all out to fight. They wanted Shui Yun to see that they were also no match for the civil officials on the ground. After returning to Savant's pavilion, Zhang Xiaobao and the others ate first. Their hearts settled back into their stomachs, and their appetite gradually increased. Xiao Bei and Xiao Yuan worked together to gnaw off more than half of the lamb leg. They rubbed their stomachs and said that it was for Shui Yun's child to try what kind of lamb tasted good. In the next few days, they planned to try a few more breeds of lamb. After the meal, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat in front of a tea set and drank tea. Zhang Xiaobao drank 6 teacups in a row, and his mouth became even more astringent. He asked Wang Wan, "What questions do you think will be tested tomorrow?" "How would I know? I didn't ask, so it doesn't matter." "Are you worried that you won't be able to pass?" Wang Wan continued to pour tea for Zhang Xiaobao, not worried at all. "I'm not afraid. I have nothing better to do. Everyone else is guessing the questions, so I'll do the same. You have to prepare. After the civil examination, it will be the military examination. If you have 2 days of rest, you can call all the commanders at home over and come up with a good plan. It's difficult for cold soldiers to fight hot weapons." Zhang Xiaobao had been arrogant when he had accompanied Wang Wan to shout at the generals, but in his heart, he really did not have any confidence. There were 2 sets of rules for cold weapons and hot weapons. You couldn't say that if you slashed out with a knife, you could instantly appear 3 miles away and cut off the enemy general's head as easily as taking something out of your pocket. Wang Wan raised her teacup and stopped it in front of her chest. She said, "It's also impossible for everyone to have a submachine gun for hot weapons. The weapons we make are purely handmade. Only our own troops and Li Longji's personal guards have one each. There are also very few handguns. The rifling for handguns is harder to make than for rifles. Most of them are rifles. Rifles are powerful at a distance, but in close combat, can bayonets compete with cold weapons? It's also impossible for me to foolishly arrange my troops in an open field and wait for the enemy to fire their guns and cannons. Using cold weapons does not mean that I've taken out the enemy's troops. I can't use their guns. It's just that when determining the losses, the people who use cold weapons are not familiar with them, so the enemy's losses are small. This time, I'll let those arrogant generals who think that they have guns and cannons understand that guns and cannons are not omnipotent. Otherwise, sooner or later, they will suffer a great loss." Zhang Xiaobao also understood that in theory, there was no such thing as an invincible soldier. However, he felt that it would be very troublesome for him to deal with it. He drank another cup of tea and indicated to Wang Wan that he was full. He said, "I've got the information on all the generals. After the literary exam, I'll make a list and evaluate everyone. Okay, I'll leave the logistics to you. I may have to frequently move long distances to find opportunities. You can't make any mistakes about how to distribute the logistics and how to hide them." Wang Wan placed a lot of importance on this sand table exercise. She had to win. Zhang Xiaobao also said seriously, "Don't worry, I like to do this. I'll let the logistics cooperate very well. Give me the map, I'll study it again." Zhang Xiaobao said as he went to get the map. "You're not guessing the exam questions anymore?" Wang Wan asked with a smile. "What's there to guess? I'm the top scorer. If they don't give me the top scorer, I won't be an official anymore. I'll leave behind a huge mess. Let's see who can clean it up. Whoever is the top scorer will take over. Just the great Tang Bank alone is enough to tire him to death." Zhang Xiaobao puffed out his chest and went to the study to look for the map. Wang Wan sat there and kept laughing. The next day, the day of the imperial examination finally arrived. Some impatient examinees hurriedly finished their lunch and headed to the hibiscus garden. They just had to wear their clothes. He lowered his head and ate fiercely. Both of them had their own thoughts. Why? After a while, Zhang Xiaobao put down his chopsticks and looked outside. He seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be asking Wang Wan. Because we are used to 12 years of compulsory education. We are used to not having a good job after graduation. We are used to having a lot of masters and doctorates. In the past, I didn't think about it. I just felt a little. Why do we have to go through such a long period of education and then lose the opportunity to get more survival resources? The country doesn't give any preferential treatment to people who receive education. Wang Wan also muttered. Zhang Xiaobao turned around and picked up the cucumber stick dipped in the sauce. He pinched it with his hand and bit off a piece. "Now you know." "I know." Wang Wan nodded. In fact, the country has never thought of letting the people widen the gap between the people of the same country through education. Because everyone is learning, it is to widen the gap between one society and another society. In other words, it is to prevent other countries from surpassing the basic level of knowledge. Now, I'm thinking, if we can take all of our graduates from a certain university and bring them here, they can study tourism, mining, physics, chemistry, and so on, and then compare them with the outstanding people of the same age in Great Tang. The people of Great Tang will be trampled under their feet. This gap can destroy a country. It's just like how Li Longji is always afraid of the country that can shoot artillery shells from Luzhou to Chang'an. Therefore, the purpose of universal education is not to increase the competitive advantage of the people of the country. It is to ensure the survival of the race. When Wang Wan said this, she thought about why the emperor was willing to give the children of officials the position of officials. Chapter 950. The soldiers did not take long before they returned to where Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were sitting. Behind them was the head examiner, and two other people were holding a set of papers. "Sir, you want to review the questions?" the head examiner asked. "I'm going to answer the questions." "You are Shui, Assistant Minister of Rights." "Oh, I remember now. Shui Yuan, right?" Zhang Xiaobao looked at the head examiner and thought for a while before saying his name. The head examiner nodded happily. "Yes, yes. You have a good memory. Do you want to answer all the questions? Do you want to extend the duration of the imperial examinations?" "No need. It's just a small question. In a while, bring the examiner here. I will answer it for him." Zhang Xiaobao did not want to be scolded. Because he was alone, extending the duration of the imperial examinations was worse than delaying the autumn quarter examinations by a month. Thus, he immediately took the papers and did not say anything polite. He invited the head examiner to eat and let him leave after greeting him. Assistant Minister Shui did not feel that Zhang Xiaobao was neglecting him. If he really asked him to stay for a meal, that would be a lie. Why would he ask him to stay for a meal when there were two people eating? However, he had doubts about whether Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could answer all the questions. Zhang Xiaobao poured hot water into a cup of barley wine. This was the first wine that appeared during the distillation process. It was also called Liuzi wine and had a relatively high alcohol content. However, no matter how high the alcohol content of barley wine was, it was still not as high as rice or corn. The first wine was around 50% alcohol content. You still want to drink during an examination? Give me the questions. Let me see. Wang Wan took the cup in front of Zhang Xiaobao and took a sip. She drank a quarter of the wine in one gulp and finished half a tael. I'll leave you a sip. 1 tael per person. You will feel refreshed. After drinking, you will be able to answer the questions. What kind of questions are these from the mathematics section? The fill-in-the-blanks questions actually have to be memorized. Luckily, I memorized them before. Thank you, Grandfather Bai. That old man taught me a lot. Do you see this? This is the mathematics exam. This was clearly not asking people to calculate. Instead, it was bringing up the forward, gouging out a row of words, and asking people to fill in the blanks. There's a calculation problem. I've left a space here, which means that there's no need to write down the steps to solve the problem. Let me see, the road is 80 feet long. The two brothers will walk it in pairs. The brothers will take 4 feet each step, and the younger brother will take half a step. A total of 35 steps. Was this what the imperial examinations were about? It means that there is a road that is 80 feet long, and two brothers are walking on it. The elder brother takes 1 step and covers 4 feet, and the younger brother takes half of the elder brother's, which is 2 feet. Then the two of them walk a total of 35 steps, and each of them is asked how many steps they have taken. Zhang Xiaobao felt helpless after reading the questions. It was too simple. It was just a two-dimensional linear equation. Wang Wan did not even need a pen and could directly say the answer. Of course, it was not a blank. There were steps to solve the problem. Let x plus y equals 35, for x plus 2y equals 80. I really should call Xiao Bei and the rest over. Let's not talk about the college entrance examination. If there were such questions in the middle school entrance examination, the children would die of happiness. Let me see again. Oh, there's a two-dimensional quadratic equation at the bottom. It seems that not everyone can calculate pi. Xiao Bao, now you know the importance of a system, right? Wang Wan held a roll of paper in her hand, took a pen, and finished answering all the questions for the mathematics section. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at it and copied it. Otherwise, it would take some time to solve the two-dimensional quadratic equation. He might as well eat a few more mouthfuls of food. When the two of them finished their meal and began to drink tea, they had finished answering all the questions except for a poem, a prose essay, and some discussion questions that hadn't been written yet. There were no multiple-choice questions, no error correction questions, just filling in the blanks, discussion, and so on. The only question the two of them answered was the mathematics section, which was how to judge a case. The judgment was not fixed and had a certain degree of flexibility. The two of them had already memorized all the laws of the Tang dynasty. After Zhang Xiaobao finished writing, he said to Wang Wan, "Look, aren't the laws set for the upper class? If our family followed this rule, even 10 heads would not be enough to chop off." "Are you saying that the law is useless?" Wang Wan asked. "No, I'm saying that everyone should quickly become upper-class people so that they can avoid the law," Zhang Xiaobao said. "If someone can be above the law, it can only mean that the system is not perfect. The one who is wrong is not the law, but those who are clearly avoiding the law. Not only are they not ashamed, but they are also complacent. If you do too many bad things, one day you will run into a ghost. I'm a good person. Don't look at me and say that we're not going back today. Call Xiao Bei and the others over later. Let's eat hot pot tonight. Sauerkraut hot pot with a chimney. At the same time, let them answer the questions and experience the imperial examination." Zhang Xiaobao reopened the mathematics section paper and began to think about how to write poems and prose. Just as he came up with some ideas, someone came to disturb him. Didn't Lord Zhang give the students a chance to ask questions when he was busy? The person had a blank expression on his face, as if he was wondering why Wang Wan had brought up the oral examination. Looking at the situation, when the examiner asked him to come, she did not tell him the details. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and smiled. Zhang Xiaobao reacted and didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he said to the person, You. All right, after the martial arts exam, I will resume class. You can write down all your questions and hand them to me after class. As for the other people's questions, I will gather them together and answer them all together. Let's not talk about this now. You can ask me about the oral examination of arithmetic. Wang Wan and I will pass the examination of arithmetic as well, so we can begin." Wang Wan also sat up straight and waited. The person smiled awkwardly and said, "Lord Zhang, you are making things difficult for me. How could I dare to ask you such a small question? Don't tease me, okay? You want to take the arithmetic exam, and I will tell you now. You and official Wang have both passed. If you insist on making me ask, then you are scolding me." "Ah. Okay then, you can go do your own thing. I will answer the questions of the advanced subject." Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and bade farewell to the person. The person bowed and said, "Lords, you are busy. I will take my leave." After he finished speaking, he really left. The examinees on both sides of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had all pressed their ears to the wooden board to listen. When they heard the person's question, they were all at a loss. When they heard Zhang Xiaobao's answer, oh, it should be said that it was an answer, they were first shocked and then felt inferior. Look at him. He had nothing better to do and took the arithmetic exam. The examiner who came for the oral examination could only ask for advice and did not dare to ask questions related to arithmetic. Even ants seek the warmth of spring, how can people avoid the cold of autumn? Brocade returns home, respect the elderly first, do not talk about official status, fellow countrymen. Fellow countrymen stoke firewood, and put winter vegetables in front of the table. Deep in the cold, cracked hands, revealing the light of the fire, moist and gentle face. When I say there are many dishes, I hurriedly put down my chopsticks, when he says there is little meat, he pushes the plate. The cucumbers are crisp, the leek sprouts are fresh, the children are laughing and playing at the table. During the meal, I asked about the deceased, the newly built tower to worship the deceased. The fields are often produced in all seasons, the things by the water are occasionally left behind. The turbid wine floats to the bottom, the gourd soup scars the bottom. The tipsy finger goes to the sway foam, propose to use soil to cultivate mountain treasures. What can be chosen from 10,000 kinds of mountain treasures? Mushrooms are best fried and stewed. Tremella still needs to be cultivated, but purple mushrooms can be produced in the same basket. The host is pleasantly surprised and often urged to drink, returning guests forget their worries and keep drinking. Or all of Sanchuay County. And all of the 4 seas can be mapped. Suddenly there is a noise outside the door, pushing open the window to listen to the light bell. Zhang Wang is afraid to be behind, Guli outside the village is happy to compete. First, white cut chicken pieces are tender, then brown smoked beast head ting. Hurriedly waving and bowing to thank, the noise buzzing in the capital. Inform the capital and the county, the roadside is the same Yanglu song. The Yellow River divides Wei and divides Yellow River, Dingshuwei clear and turbid together. 1,000 coins are easy to buy a tiger staff, 100 knives are hard to find a falcon bow. My sister Bayer prepares a gift, staying up late to set off fireworks. The young child asks how many people belong to, bending his fingers 3 times until the moon is full and waning. Invite wine to wet hands, take bowl to add frost to boots. Celebrate until the rooster crows, wake up, drink until the moon sets. Drink half a jar of wine, suddenly go to the chicken coop, suddenly come to study. The school windows are bright, the tables and chairs are arranged, the sun is shining in the west. But there is food and drink between classes, no wonder the children are reading and studying. Clear soup monkey head with abalone, big wonton stuffed with water chestnuts. Suddenly there is an old man patting the shoulder, laughing and praising Sanchuay Zhen. Remember to be modest and laugh back, these are small things not worth boasting about. Then he shakes his head and praises good fortune, then shushes and waves his hand, saying that life is short. Is it difficult to detoxify the poison and control the soup? The old man did not mean this, this meal is accompanied by gentleness. Since it is gentleness, what is there to say? It is almost breaking into the house to hit the spoon. The old man cupped his fists and apologized, I bent my hand back to bury myself in thought. 9 bends form a river, the word is a few, the valley name is a pond. You county children eat 10,000 li vegetables, that side of the snow is thick and cold. Winged abalone, monkey head and soup, Lu Zhou's water chestnuts are far away. Huayuan sealed the water and solid, the sound of sand and howling resentful mountain high. Why not use the horseback deer and flying dog? Goshawk sleigh guarding the empty sky. Officials always forget the small weight. Tsing Yi was ambitious in the beginning. I heard that and was shocked. This year the great Tang is sunny. How can the imperial court be perplexed? How can the inner court be so peaceful? Disaster in all places. Chongping is in a hurry to report to the capital. I read all the reports in the capital. Are you sure it is not shocking? I am angry and stare. I am determined to think about it. I anxiously shout to Chuanzhou, slowly reply to the county, saying that Chongping has little grain, and that the shops should pay taxes. The meaning of thousands of words. It is difficult to blame the officials and natural disasters. I am angry. I have many excuses. When I meet with trouble, I first evade. The troops quickly set off to the ground, brandishing the knife to cut the vegetables, pulling out the tendons and breaking the bones, all of the surname to be exterminated, lives taken and souls taken away. Originally, I killed all the corruption, but looking back, I am still alive. Opening my eyes, I am startled awake, holding the edge of the bed. The space between my eyebrows is painful. I think before I am drunk. Shouting loudly to vent my anger. When I wake up in the examination room, the ink is dry. The sun sets and the sun laughs silently. The charcoal star is full of sound. Suddenly I hear the eagle cry, the new moon, the water clouds and red lawn. Raising his hand and waving it, he is actually looking for the top spin. Beasts are psychic. They know how to use their lives to win over officials. Full of masculinity, they are full of righteousness. Sighing to find the people as the heavens, there is a dream in a dream, it is fate. Come down, don't stop me. Zhang Xiaobao threw away the pen and opened his arms. Shui Yun and his wife, Hong Wan, came down one after the other. The wind brought by their wings made the soldiers unable to stand steadily. Stand still on the table, don't move. I almost died of exhaustion from writing a song of more than 1,000 words. I can't ruin it, otherwise I will go to your house every day to cry. What's wrong? Something happened at home. You don't care about the children. Zhang Xiaobao patted the table and talked to Shui Yun and his wife. Shui Yun and Hong Wan really jumped on the table and looked around curiously. Wang Wan pulled the board away and looked at Zhang Xiaobao in surprise, then looked at the paper and asked, "Is it really more than 1,000 words?" "It's punctuation. Anyway, it has more words than Xiao Bai." Zhang Xiaobao patted the paper. Wang Wan thought for a while and realized who Zhang Xiaobao was talking about. Bai Zhiyi, who wrote the Song of Everlasting Regret. Then she curled her lips and said, "How can you compare to him? He has quality. I have speed. Give me 2 days and I will write better than him. He writes this kind of thing when he has nothing to do. Do I have time for nothing? If you don't believe me, look at Shaoli. He hasn't written for a long time. He is in charge of the Ministry of Revenue and he is so busy. I have decided to work hard to live for a few more decades or even 100 years. I will wait for Xiao Bai. He has just grown up, so I will arrange things for him to do. You want him to write poems. He should write reports and self-criticism every day." Zhang Xiaobao said viciously, then opened his mouth and laughed. Wang Wan was also amused. "Fortunately, I didn't get you into the spring and autumn annals. Otherwise, there would be no Analects of Confucius. What are Shui Yun and Hong Wan doing? How would I know? I saw them flying in the sky and waved my hand, and they came down. Their eyes are quite sharp. I will have someone go to the lake to check. Don't let anything go wrong." Zhang Xiaobao wanted to order the soldiers to go and check. Before he could find the soldiers, a person rushed in from outside. It was Luo Bin. He hurried to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, looked at Shuiyun and Hong Wan and said, "Lord Zhang, Lord Wang, the children are all out. Lord Shuiyun just fed them. Lord Zhang said that the children are asleep now and asked me to tell you the good news. I didn't expect Lord Shuiyun to come in person." "Oh. All 11 are safe?" Zhang Xiaobao asked happily. "That's amazing. They can open their mouths to eat insects without opening their eyes," Luo Bin continued to report. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. "Amazing, really amazing."